Hey everybody, it's me Nando. Got the co-hosts here.
Whoa, yeah.
DJ and Diggins. This is our Invisible Man episode. It is about the movie Invisible Man, aka Hollow Man Remastered 2020.
Oh man.
If only.
We're call back to a joke you haven't heard yet.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've been talking about Hollow Man since as long as the day is long. We're going to definitely do a Hollow Man episode sometime. But to just to be clear, so we are recording this intro on March 17th, 2020. Has anything happened, guys, since when we recorded the podcast?
Not that I recall, no.
You guys are the worst.
Well,
has anyone heard of the novel coronavirus?
COVID-19.
COVID-19.
Because I believe coronavirus, and I don't know this because I'm no scientist, is a subcategory that the bird flu or H1N1 or something we're part of. So
it's a type of virus that most flus are.
Yeah. So we recorded this episode about a week ago, and we've kind of been on this back burner. Episode recorded, it goes out a couple days later. But then coronavirus started happening, and I was like, hey, I don't know if I should put this episode out. Not because it was it's sensitive to coronavirus or whatever.
We had this whole running joke about licking doorknobs and touching other people's faces, and it just seemed disrespectful given the climate.
So we just didn't want to put it out without mentioning something to you guys. So we just recorded our Onward episode, a movie you cannot see as of today, unless it is released on VOD. So we'll give it maybe a couple days. But this is our Invisible Man episode. We just want to let you guys know we're going to reference a lot of things like March Madness that are no longer things and are our March Madness bracket. So we don't want you guys to think that we are the last three people on Earth that don't know what the coronavirus is. Because we recorded this 2 weeks ago. Diggins, I believe when we recorded this, you were about to go to France.
And I did do that, and it didn't end well.
Yeah, you didn't get coronavirus. You went to the catacombs, as is described in the thing. So we're talking about you surrounded by skeletons. We were talking about the past, very, very, very distant past of the catacombs.
I've lost the plot. What are we talking about?
We're just talking about the fact that when part of this podcast, because I listened to it the other day, part of this podcast, you're like, I'm going to France. And I'm like, you're going to be in the catacombs. You're like, yep, surrounded by skeletons. And I'm going to get coronavirus. Just that this was before that was a thing. And that's just a reference that we made because the catacombs are a thing and coronavirus was just something people were kind of talking about.
Yes.
It was an idea that didn't, it affected some people, but it wasn't what it is immediately. Anyway, everybody, wash your hands. It was
kind of a big deal, but we're stupid, and
we were
I think
idiots.
we could forgive us that.
But as you're listening to this now, everybody, wash your hands for 20 seconds. Do any of you guys know, by the way, DJ and Diggins, what the wash your hands song is? Because you have to wash them for 20 seconds. What the 20-second song is?
I mean, mine is No Scrubs.
What's yours? Let's hear it. Give 20 seconds of your as if you're washing your hands. Here we go. Everybody, we're all going to wash our hands as we're going to do the thing.
Wait, all at the same time?
No. We're going to do Diggins's and then yours, DJ. Do you have one?
I do.
It can be the normal one. It's fine. All right, then mine. So Diggins, we're going to start here and do your hand washing song. 3, 2, 1.
No, I don't want your number, no. I don't want to give you mine, no. I forget this line. No, I don't want none of your time, 'cause no, I don't want no scrubs. A scrub is a guy who can't get no love from me. Hanging out the passenger side of his best friend's ride, trying to holler at me. I don't want no scrubs. A scrub is a guy who can't get no love from me. Hanging out the passenger side of his best friend's ride, trying to holler at me.
Wow, that is a good one. First of all, that is like a 30-second wash, which is even better.
That's better.
Also,
that's better.
I'm just realizing these are going to be terrific ringtones. If anybody wants a ringtone or a voicemail, You can use
me
these
with a cold, not coronavirus, singing No Scrubs poorly. Please, if you make that your ringtone, let me know.
All right, DJ, what do you got? You should do yours first, just in case mine is the same, and then I'll do something different.
All right. Are you ready for mine?
Yeah, I'll give you a countdown. Here we go.
All right.
This is DJ's 20-second hand washing song. 3, 2, 1, go.
Toss a coin to your witcher, O Valley of Plenty, O Valley of Plenty, oh. Toss a coin to your witcher, O Valley of Plenty.
So you got to do that twice to get to 20 seconds. I think.
Yes.
And watching my thing of it. Okay. Wait.
You can have 10 of my seconds, DJ.
I want DJ to do the full 20 seconds so everybody can make a sound clip of DJ's one. It was absolutely not 20 seconds.
Yes, it was.
No, it wasn't.
I'm looking here. I went from 5:55 to 6:15.
Really?
That was 20 seconds.
All right.
I'm telling you.
Bad.
That was 20 seconds.
You can go with DJ's or you can go with...
Go back and listen to mine. And look, if you got to maybe stretch it out a little bit, but that was 20 seconds.
It's a good song. I don't mind it. I love that part of The Witcher, and it really stuck with me. And there are like really edited versions of that with like cool, exciting background music that make it even more fun. Although the official one that they released, by the way, for people that don't know, that's like the theme song for Witcher, kind of. Not theme song, but
it's a big deal in the show.
Yeah, it starts with it's like a guy playing a lute or whatever, like, and then as it keeps building, it gets to like a big giant orchestra. So always fun. You check that out on YouTube. Watch the first 2 or 3 episodes, and then that shows up naturally, and it feels very earned. Okay.
Yeah.
Someone count me off. Here we go.
3, 2, 1.
Skimble Shanks the railway cat. Skimble Shanks the railway cat. Skimble Shanks. Skimble Shanks, Skimble Shanks, the railway cat, the cat on the railway train. That's your 20 seconds. You have to sing that specific bit of it at that kind of meter, but yeah, you get it out of it. So you've got your options, people.
Nice.
And if you want, if you are so inclined and you need to, you can listen to this podcast, cut out the bits of all of us singing it, and play it as a musical bit yourself, and then you've got that as a way to kind of keep the hand washing thing going. But, wash your hands for 20 seconds. There's plenty of pictures of how you're supposed to scrub your thumbs and stuff. Socially distance. Listen to podcasts. Plenty of good podcasts out there. What else? Did I miss any recommendations? There's got to be some.
Mostly try and stay home if you can. If you got to go to the supermarket to get food, go to the supermarket and get food. If there's places around you doing takeout delivery, do that. Seamless actually has a no contact option where they will just leave the food at your doorstep and then you could go down and get it. So, depending on what your situation is, call people, call your parents or whoever. Make sure they're doing okay. So, yeah.
Start a podcast with people
Honestly,
so you can check in on them every week. Seriously.
Best time.
Do you think the podcast market will explode?
It already has, but sure.
Yeah. Everybody, if you are a 25 to 32-year-old white guy, this is your time to shine. There are no podcasts. No, just kidding. There are so many. But do a specific one. Watch all the episodes of, Gargoyles or something.
Oh, yeah, do some real niche.
That's how you do it. Unless you're like us and you've just been doing this for 7 or 8 years, then you can kind of get away with being a thing that people listen to. Diggins, are there any other recommendations we forgot? I honestly can't remember.
I think we covered the basics. Just don't go outside if you don't need to. Wash your hands. Don't touch your face, etc., etc. Just be safe out there.
Yeah, and if you feel symptoms, do what you can. Call the doctor. Look. Just take the best practices from the people that know what they're doing.
Yeah,
That's the best.
Don't
we
take
can
advice
tell you
from
to
us
do.
idiots. Listen to doctors and
Yeah,
health
exactly.
experts.
Although, if you need a 20-second song, we gave you 3. That's got to be enough. So, everybody, enjoy this episode of Mostly Nitpicking. That is a fun little time in a bottle before any of this started, where we talk about the movie Invisible Man, which, as of today, which is the 17th, I think you'll be able to VOD it at the end of this week. So, you'll be able to actually watch this one. Hopefully, Onward will follow that trend. So, stay safe, everybody. Did I say stay safe? Ugh.
It's late.
Stay safe, everybody. Everyone else, follow my lead and say that exact phrase. Or
Cool.
the normal one. We'll be right in with our actual episode. What's going on? I am Nando.
And I'm DJ.
And I'm Diggins.
And this is Mostly Nitpicking, a podcast where every week we pick apart a piece of pop culture by looking exclusively at the details. Woo!
Woo, yeah.
Energy.
Yeah. This week, we're going to be talking about a movie, the first, what will probably this time finally be the first in a line of movies, at least a spiritual line of successive movies, based off of the Universal Monsters. And
You sure about that?
Well, yes. I think they will make more movies in the same vein as this. So
That's
I don't think it'll end up being a
possible.
cinematic universe, but it will be like a moment of
I think this movie very clearly demonstrates why the whole Dark Universe project was a fool's errand to begin with.
I can see that.
But I think we'll get to that later.
Yeah, we will. We'll talk about that because we'll have to get to. Before we get to that, how are you guys doing, gentlemen?
I'd say fine.
I'm doing quite well. Thank you for asking.
Oh, great, cool.
That's nice.
DJ, you're fine. Is it because we're up at an ungodly hour doing?
I wouldn't
this
call this
podcast?
hour ungodly.
Again,
Godly.
Nando, DJ and I are up at this hour every weekday.
Yeah, it's true.
You're all insane. I wouldn't trade places with you for the world. Look at all this light coming into the apartment. Well, I guess there's usually light when I'm awake, but it's so early. Although we're daylight savings timing tonight, so that's fun.
Gonna lose another hour, motherfuckers.
I'm going to
But
be
then
on a
it will be
plane to
wonderful.
a country that doesn't do it, and so I won't notice at all.
That's true. And then you're going to spend your whole week in the catacombs, dying with the millions of skeletons.
I know, yeah. I'm going to join them in the kingdom of the dead.
We should do that movie instead. That movie, what was that movie called? Where the Orlando Bloom it's not Kingdom of the Dead, right? It's about the Crusades. I didn't see it. Anyway,
Kingdom of Heaven?
yeah, that's definitely what it is. Yep. We're not doing that this week though. We're gonna do 2000's Hollow Man. Woo! We're doing it, baby.
There's
I
a
tricked you.
solid amount of people who are mad that we're not doing Hollow Man.
It's a great movie, and it's bad. It's dumb and bad, and it sucks. And
To be fair, the worse the movie is, the better the podcast, typically.
yeah, no, this movie's fucking Hollow Man. I'm gonna put the trailer for Hollow Man in the chat just so you guys can. You don't even have to like. We're not gonna do a thing where everybody sits down and watches it together, but just like put it on in the background so
It's
you
for
can,
later consumption.
Yeah, because it's very much like this in the sense of like, but what if the Invisible Man was real and also, a big old creep? It's pretty, but I mean, there's some pretty clear differences. The first one is it's not very interesting, like not interesting, but there's not like it's not like a take on it, which is what why the Invisible Man kind of works. But it's just a movie where they turn a guy invisible and he goes mad with power.
I will say, the Invisible Man being a big old creep is actually a core part of that original story.
So yeah, we'll get to that too, because I'm curious about the original Invisible Man like story because I know very little about it. But yeah, it's the Hollow Man sucks. maybe when someone wins our March Madness bracket or something like that, when we do it, they can make us watch Hollow Man because it's.
Oh, we got to set that up. Yeah. Hey,
put your money where your mouth is, cowards.
I'm gonna set this up while we record, so then I'll have it ready for the end of the podcast because we should definitely announce that info today.
Yeah, when does March Madness start?
March 17th.
Okay, yeah, that sounds about right.
But it gives people time to get like their brackets and stuff in. So like we can announce it this week and next week, but definitely should start this week so it's not last minute.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Anyway, I'm gonna do that right now.
All right, so we're talking about Hollow Man. I mean, we're not. We're talking about Invisible Man, the Invisible Man, right?
I believe it is the Invisible Man.
The Invisible Man, yes. So we're gonna go through it non-spoilers. It's got some spoilers. It's like if you haven't seen it, I would say listen to the beginning part of the podcast and then maybe go see it. However, we talked about this. The trailer has way too much information in it. So you probably already have a sense for what the movie's like. You'll understand the what's the word I'm looking for? Like the aura is not the right word, but the essence of this movie from seeing the trailer. But hey, maybe there's some twists and turns along the way.
Plus, even if you know what happens in a movie, if it's a good movie, then it's still fun to watch it.
Incorrect. It's all movies is surprises, and this is not how you go to a movie theater. You bring your paper and you write what you think happens in the movie, and you check it off as it happens, and then if you got all the checks, the movie is bad.
M. Night Shyamalan, what are you doing here?
Yeah, that's right, baby. It's me, M. Night Shyamalan. I made one good movie recently, and then I immediately did the cinematic universe thing and made the worst movie in a while, Nando's least favorite movie of last year. And who knows, he's probably working on something else now. I mean, I am, because I'm this guy, M. Night Shyamalan.
I mean, M. Night Shyamalan is famously from Philadelphia.
That's what I was going to say. I could probably hail him in. He'll probably walk by soon.
Tell him it's a Philadelphia-based podcast, and he'll come running to you.
It is 1/3 of that.
And we've done all of his 3 movies, including 2 of the good ones. We did the 2 good ones.
Shyamalan streak.
Sixth Sense. Those are I don't know. Some people like Signs. I think Signs is fine. And some people like the one where Grandma is a weird monster lady or whatever that one is. Where
I hear that
the kids fine. But no, we're talking about The Invisible Man, 2002. Or 20.
2002.
Wow. 2002's Invisible Man. Hollow Man came out in the year 2000.
I watched that Hollow Man trailer, by the way. It looks real bad.
It does look real bad.
It really is. It's so 2000s-y trailer, too.
I know.
But everybody's haircuts look very 2000s. But they get at a lot of the same effects. There's similar... Listen, there's only so many things you can do with an Invisible Man. We'll talk about it. But they do it. The Hollow Man does it in the most obvious of ways, and it's pretty funny. But I think the Hollow Man effect, not terrible. For 2000, some of the shots I'm looking at here, I'm kind of impressed by. Honestly, it's not a good movie, and it's mostly just kind of weird. But yeah. So The Invisible Man, it came out in 2020. It was directed by Lee Whannell, who directed that movie Upgrade that I loved so much. That you've seen this movie, you should definitely watch.
Lee Whannell also the creative, or has been the creative partner of James Wan, and the two of them are kind of responsible for the little small horror movie boomlet we're living through right now.
I was gonna say, yeah. So he writes a lot of movies. He's an Australian guy, I think, which is awesome. Yes, he is. Australians are cool. So he acts in movies. I believe he has some roles, but also. Not mainly, but he wrote the Saw franchise, or at least the first couple of them.
The good ones?
Yeah, exactly. He wrote up until, it seems like he wrote 1, 2, and 3, which I'd say 1 is pretty good. 2 is good, like, I'd say the best version of a Saw movie. I don't remember 3. I've seen most of them. He also wrote the first 2 Insidious movies. Oh no, he wrote all of the Insidious movies. And then he wrote and directed Upgrade. He wrote and directed this. I don't know if he was in it at any point. I'm wondering. So he does that. He apparently is the cargo pilot in Aquaman. Remember that? In Aquaman, when they jump out of the plane and go, Yahoo! He's that guy. He's one of my favorite characters in the DCEU. Guy that thinks two weirdos committed suicide out of his plane for no reason and still has to deliver his goats. So yeah, Lee Winnell, he did it. He made the movie. Way to go, Lee. It stars Elizabeth Moss, Oliver Jackson Cohen, not sure who he is, Harriet Dreyer, Atlas Hodge, the whole gang is here, Storm Reed, and let's say Michael Dorman. Not a ton of characters, which is fine. It's what you want. Not what you want, but it's like, this is the kind of movie where you can get away with that. It's mostly, what's her name?
This movie was made on like $7 million, I think, which makes sense when you consider your main villain is simply not there. Mm-hmm. It's a very easy effect for most shots.
And it's funny, because I could see a version of this movie where the Invisible Man is Johnny Depp, right? Like, I could see a version of this movie where you cast a big giant actor to be the Invisible Man and just go like, all right, you're on set for 2 days. For one of the days you just have to sleep, mostly. And then the other day you have a little bit of acting to do, and that's it. But
I would argue that if they had done that, it probably would have entailed some creative changes that would have made the movie worse. But I think we'll get to that later also.
Yeah, I think I know where I think I know where you're going with this, but yeah, I could see that. It's mostly Elizabeth Moss looking at stuff and going, and then like her face gets more and more sleepy, and then she just becomes an insane, not an insane person, but like she goes from looking like a normal person to looking like what a movie dictates a paranoid person looks like.
But is it paranoia if they're right?
That's a very good question. She's or is she right? You know, maybe it's all in her head. Maybe she's just
no, the movie's very clear that it is not in her head.
Yeah, it really is.
So like there's some bits in the movie where I am like, oh, maybe it is all in her head or something, or like we'll talk about it. But I think the movie does a little bit too much to like. Yeah, we'll talk about it. But yeah, what'd you think? Okay, so we'll go over big stuff, and then we'll do spoilers. So guys, what did you think of 2020's The Invisible Man?
Meh.
Really?
I wasn't a huge fan.
Really?
Nah.
Huh.
I found it too long. I didn't find... I thought Elizabeth Moss was good, but I thought the movie kind of dragged, and I didn't actually find the ending very satisfying. So I just
which one of the three endings? Which one did you not find more satisfying?
That's the problem. Is like there's a weird like the movie has like an action movie ending, then the movie's actual ending, and I thought that was kind of not fun for me. So yeah, I didn't really care for this movie that much. It wasn't bad. I thought it was fine.
Diggins, what'd you think?
Unlike TJ, I actually was surprised how much I enjoyed this movie. I think I would agree with the substance of part of your complaint, at least in that I think towards the end of this movie, it runs into the classic horror movie problem of becoming less of a horror movie and more of a thriller, and that's just less interesting. But especially those early parts when she's first figuring out that there's an invisible man, there's such effective horror going on in this movie. Like, even though, again, the whole thing is essentially just there's a person you can't see, and he's just a dude. He's just a guy who's invisible. But just that unease of, like, you never know if he's there or not, and you know that he's trying to mess with you is, like, so effective. I was like putting my hands over my face and catching coronavirus because of it. Especially in the attic scene. Like, I could not. I was looking at the screen, like I was peeking through my fingers, but it was tough to watch. It was so tense and scary. So there was just too much of this movie that worked for me not to say that it's really good.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm on Diggins' side here. I enjoyed this movie more than I expected I would. I think I agree with DJ. I think it went a little too long. I think it overstayed its welcome a little bit. I don't know why. I think it could have gotten away with, I don't know. There's a point near the end where you're pretty sure it's over, and then it isn't over, and then it's like, why did we do this? I know why we did this, and I know what it's trying to do, and we'll talk about it. But yeah, I thought Elizabeth Moss was pretty good. I thought she was good. Everybody else in it was fine. But I like this director, and I think he did some interesting stuff with it. I think there were some convincing and interesting effects, and I think there were some effects that look silly no matter what you're doing. But I think for the most part, it worked, and I agree. I think the beginning worked a little better than the end. In terms of just like but I guess maybe that's like a product of horror movies. Although there's a certain element of it where I'm kind of like, I don't know. It's once it becomes clear that there's an invisible man and not a hollow man, a solid man, as it were. The movie kind of shifts gears, and I did like the first bit, but I think there's interesting stuff that they do at the second bit. That's kind of fun. All right, so we already kind of got at the actors because there's one that matters and all the rest are fine.
Yeah, this is Elizabeth Moss's movie. Like, everyone else is there, but it's her movie.
So, DJ, you didn't care for Elizabeth Moss?
No, I did. I liked her in the movie, but I didn't think that her performance elevated the movie to a point where I was like, oh, great movie.
Interesting. I can see that. I mean, you're not going to like it because you didn't love the movie. She's fine. She's pretty good.
I also don't know why, because Diggins, I just like to quickly go to your point of the attic scene, which is a good scene. I don't know why, but I just wasn't feeling that tension that I was supposed to feel. I guess because part of the movie is it supposed to be, is it in her head or is it real? And it was so clear that it was real that I just was like, I don't know, I wasn't into it. I guess I wanted them to play more into that. Is it in her head? Is it real? But I was just like, the attic scene, I was just like, this is happening. I don't know, I just didn't get any of that tension from it.
See,
maybe that's just because I'm too much of a normie.
I didn't find that the tension between whether or not it was real was the main thing driving this movie. I felt it was trying to get us in the victim's perspective of a victim of domestic abuse or of the kind of relationship or situation that Elizabeth Moss's character Cecilia finds herself in this movie, where so much of your life is controlled but things outwardly seem fine, where people don't understand or even necessarily believe you that things are wrong, but your life is being destroyed by this one person, and you can't convince someone else that that's what's happening. I felt like that's what it was going for more than the actual am I crazy or not? That you're right, but at the same time you can't convince anyone else, and that fact, even though you know you're right, makes you start to feel crazy. And I just felt like that's what it was going for, and that worked for me really well. Which ties into what I was saying earlier about a star. Hiring a star to be the Invisible Man in this movie would have made it worse, because one of the best things about this movie, I felt, is it takes that original Invisible Man story, or it takes the idea of it. Obviously, this is not exactly how that movie how that story originally happens, but the idea of the Invisible Man story is a man comes up with a way to become invisible and basically uses it as free license to do all the terrible things he's always wanted to do but never could. And so it's very Jekyll and Hyde in that sense.
Yeah, it sounds just like that from the other day.
Yeah, but what I like about this movie is instead of framing his perspective as the main one that we're that we're viewing the movie through, it instead is through the perspective of one of his victims, which actually changes the story completely, because it's not about the thrill of seeing what he chooses to do. It's about the terror of what that inflicts on another person's life. And that's just really interesting to me that they went that direction, and I think makes the movie a lot better. And if you cast like a Johnny Depp as Invisible Man, then just the gravity of like him being that person means we're going to focus more and more on that character, and then it starts to lose that power of being from the victim's perspective. So that's why I think it's good that they kind of cast a nobody in that role.
Well, now I feel like a normie who didn't understand this movie.
Don't you call Aldous Hodge? Wait, no, never mind. That's the other guy. Oliver Jackson Cohen a nothing or nobody?
I just mean he's not a big star. He was fine in the movie. He did a good job.
He's a trash person. That's what you said. He's from Dracula, the show. He's been trying to get in a monster movie his whole damn life. He's also on that Hill House show that I've never seen. But yeah, no, I forget what the question was. Yes,
we're taking all over the place. Hey, what'd you think of
movie.
this movie? Diggins understood the nuance and a smart person. DJ's a big idiot who just wanted to see the things go boom. Actually,
I in no way called you a big idiot. Your
No, I know.
perspective is valid.
I have to say, but maybe just because I felt the ending was really flat, but I thought that, like, what I'll call the end, like, prison sequence was garbage.
I didn't
hot
super care for the
garbage.
ending, to be honest. I feel
was
like
that?
I didn't super care for the ending. I'll agree with you on that one.
So
yeah, I think there's. I think they had to. I think the prison sequence had to happen. I don't think it had to, but I don't think there's a way we were getting around it. With the movie that was supposed to be released in theaters to get people to see it. But I do think you could get away with just being done with it then. I don't know. It's interesting.
I also thought the Invisible Man, like, despite being invisible, had, like, too many god-level powers. Maybe this was, like, me just looking too much at this movie and not sitting there enjoying it. But it felt like he was doing some Dark Knight Joker shit with some, like, I get it, you're invisible, but there is a limit to some of this garbage. Like, the thing in the restaurant, like, that was just nonsense. I saw that.
Oh,
like,
my God.
Oh, that got me so good, though.
But, like, no.
We'll talk about it because I think we have like that part's pretty important.
I know I'm jumping around, but I'm just trying to go. But like, why did I like this? And there's all these little things that I think I just left the movie with like a bad taste in my mouth. Because I agree with all the things you said, Diggins. Like that underlying theme of like no one's listening to me, and that's a huge problem with domestic abuse. Is like a solid theme. There was a lot of like muck in the way that kind of I don't know. I was just like with a lot of this stuff.
I mean, I will say, it has that stuff going on. It is primarily interested in being, like, a cool genre horror movie. So, like, I'm not going to say it's the deepest movie ever or something.
Yeah, that's fair. It's, so Diggins, you've read The Invisible Man, the original one?
I haven't read it personally, but I'm aware of it.
Interesting. I have not either. I know very little about this. Probably less about The Invisible Man than any of the other general monsters, besides maybe Creature of the Black Lagoon.
Invisible Man is kind of like the odd man out of the Universal monsters.
Yeah, why is that?
I think it's just because it's much harder to do something interesting with.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's like one of those things where it's hard to, oh, well, he's invisible, so he's got the weird like trench coat and jacket and stuff, and the sunglasses, and that. What does he do? He's invisible. So anything you could see him do, you can't. He's just to be invisible. He's not Wolfman or Dracula. Like, those are some sexy fucking, top dollar monsters. Even the Mummy's, like, pretty cool. But, like, Invisible Man, he's like if we're talking, like, NFL draft, he's a 4th round pick, I think. Maybe get like a running back, some good like value position to flesh out the offense a little bit. But like Dracula and Wolfman, those are 1st round picks.
Yes.
Here, there's your sports analogy. DJ Chapman with your sports.
Who's the best?
That's our new
Holy
segment.
Shit. This is a terrible fuck.
No, this is great. I love this energy. Let's keep going.
Okay.
All right, if we had to rank the monsters, all of the Universal monsters
right.
of monsters,
All right.
who's top, who's bottom, who's number one?
I need to list Dracula.
Dracula.
Number
yeah,
Dracula.
I guess fair. All right, number 2.
Ooh.
I'm gonna say for me, it might be the Mummy.
Are we talking about
Really?
that we like, or like what's the
Just-
criteria here?
In terms of like which one is the best the best monster from movies. So like not necessarily, well, kind of. It could be like what we think is the most makes the most interesting movies, the most memorable,
I'm gonna
best
go with
costume.
I'm going to go with Frankenstein as number 2.
I was also going to do Frankenstein as I'm looking at the list.
See, I always feel
Or
like Frankenstein's...
I guess we mean Frankenstein's monster.
That's true. Well, no. You know what? It's Frankenstein. Because isn't
Actually,
there
in
a
the
Bride of
movies, it is
Frankenstein?
Yeah, that's a great
Yeah,
point.
it's Frankenstein. I think Frankenstein's a solid number 3. I like the werewolf a lot. I think the werewolf makes fun stories. And we've done different versions of the werewolf a million times in, like, other movies, like The Hulk, or, like, you know, others.
Yeah, I would put Wolfman number 3 for me, I think.
Yeah. So that leaves a couple. Well, sorry.
I'm actually going to do the Mummy number 3. For
So we
my
all
list.
officially have different lists now. Incredible.
Yeah, so then I'll put Frankenstein as my 4 because I don't mind Frankenstein. I don't think he's that crazy of like a cool thing. Number 4 for you guys, I guess then would have to be.
I'll go Wolfman.
You're doing Wolfman here, okay?
I would put Mummy here.
All right, so we got a couple.
So our
we haven't-
top 4 is the same, just in different orders.
That's right. There's a
Then
couple we haven't talked about.
Creature
There's
from the Black Lagoon.
Creature from the Black
Yep.
Lagoon. Phantom of the Opera, I'm not counting. Phantom of the Opera is his own thing.
Phantom of the Opera. Yeah, no, come on.
We've made all these classic monster movies. He counts as one of them. Like, he's part of their little monster universe thing back when they wanted to do
Man,
that.
I would love to see the Dark Universe Phantom of the Opera, though.
I know.
That would be incredible.
Do you think maybe his mask was in Prodigium or something? 'Cause it's hard to do a Phantom of the Opera now.
I don't know. They
You
still
could-
do Phantom of the Opera now on Broadway.
Sorry. I mean, it's hard to do Phantom of the Opera in present day, which is the day when all of the Dark Universes take place.
That's true.
Unless you killed a Phantom earlier. But really, then, like, what is it? Because the Phantom of the Opera is the only, I don't know about only, but the least supernatural of all the guys. He's just a guy.
Maybe Phantom would be like their Ant-Man, where it's like he was actually a person from further in the past, and he comes up as being like, oh, well, you know, we originally encountered this when we met the Phantom of the Opera.
Wow. And then a guy steals the mask, and then he becomes the Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah.
And then he, like, goes to, I don't know, like, plays. He goes to like Jersey Boys and haunts Jersey Boys or
he
whatever.
goes to modern art installations and just like pretends to be a part of it, and everyone's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, this is part of it."
It would be like that movie Velvet Buzzsaw, where it's like, what if art was Final Destination? But it doesn't matter.
Or the new Candyman.
Or the new Candyman.
Oh
That's
my
right.
god, Candyman.
Yo,
I
that
guess
trailer
he does-
before this movie, so good.
I did not see that trailer. I saw a bunch of trailers. See, the thing with a horror movie is I don't ever watch them. So I go to a movie and I see trailers for horror movies and they're all brand new. And I'm just like, what the fuck is this? There was one that was just like for a movie called Horror Movie, pretty much. I don't remember what it was, but I remember seeing it and going like, this is a horror movie, I guess.
That sounds
And
like
then-
Scary Movie.
It really was. It wasn't necessarily generic, but it was just like some sort of Carrie, Exorcist, something. And I've never heard of it before, and I was just like, yep. But okay, wait, we forgot a couple. Okay, so you get Creature from the Black Lagoon. You got Invisible Man. You got Phantom of the Opera, which, okay, we'll skip. And then, obviously, at the big boss, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Those are all the ones I can think of from from that one movie where they're all X-Men, the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. And also Van Helsing, which is the other thing that the other time these all hung out. I would say Jekyll and Hyde is my bottom of my list.
I think Jekyll and Hyde is interesting, but it's also super played out at this point.
Yeah, that's fair.
I might actually put Jekyll and Hyde above Invisible Man. I just really don't like Invisible Man. Nothing to do with this movie. I don't know. I don't find the concept intriguing at all. How is the original Invisible Man invisible?
He gets a procedure. He does science to himself.
Okay.
I think, yeah,
I was reading up on this.
He
now.
does some fake science. It's like Jekyll and Hyde, where Jekyll makes like a potion. It's something like that.
Yes.
Or you inject yourself with some cool revolver-like serum. Just punch it right in the arm.
Well, that's to keep him from being Hyde, not to turn
That's
him
true.
into Hyde.
Oh, right, yeah.
With his multi-barrel syringe.
So in the book, he invented chemicals capable of rendering. He's a medical student who invented chemicals capable of rendering bodies invisible. That's the whole thing. and just did the procedure on himself because he was bored. It seems like it just because it says on an impulse. So I'm imagining he was just like, that'd be fun.
Hell of an impulse.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, if you're going to do that, think of a contingency plan to, turn yourself back, because that could be a one-way street that sucks.
Well, then you get bandages and a trench coat, and then that's your whole thing. And then the glasses, and you run an inn, apparently. I don't know. He's like an innkeeper in the movie, in the book, not in the movie. Yeah. I like the Invisible Man. I like the Creature from the Black Lagoon a little bit more. I think that's a fun one.
I think
completely doesn't fit any of the rest of them.
I think Creature from the Black Lagoon and The Mummy have the similar problems where there's cool stories you can tell with them, but they're very limited.
Yeah.
Like either because the cultural milieu has not really absorbed them in the same way as, say, a Dracula, where Dracula gets to be more of a stand-in for larger things now, instead of being a weird monster in Eastern Europe. But they don't have a clear metaphor, really, about what they are, and the things that they are so specific that there's only certain things you can do with them. So it's just, they're cool, they're just hard to use in a way that's interesting.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It is cool, though. I don't know. I think...
Yeah, they should do a whole cinematic universe with all these monsters. That would be great, guys. Don't you think so?
$1 billion idea. Yeah, capital idea.
So, okay. Let's cast them in chairs. So, sitting down in the chair board, I want Javier Bardem as my Frankenstein. Can you imagine? He's tall, he's scary. Behind his chair, with like one arm on his arm, Tom Cruise as Mummy Guy. Jack Hansen, the Mummy's best friend, sexy lady. And his Russell Crowe on the right of him with one hand on the chair, very poorly photoshopped. And then I feel like there was somebody else in the picture besides Mummy. Who was it? Oh, and then Johnny Depp. Yeah, he's fine too.
Could I do some editing?
Yes.
I want Nicolas Cage as our new Mummy. I think he could bring some great energy to this franchise and really give it the kick it needs. Tom Cruise is played out.
DJ. Nicolas Cage is obviously Jekyll and Hyde.
See,
what?
No.
Nicolas Cage is obviously Dracula because he did that one time and he was perfect. He's the best
That's
vampire
true. Yeah,
ever brought to screen.
Yeah, no, fuck what I said. Dracula, do it.
And because the Jekyll and Hyde spot is going to be taken by the obvious person to replace Russell Crowe, Kurt Russell. He's our new.
Yes.
He could already be that kind of guy. We've seen it in the Fast and Furious franchise, so he could do the same thing. But listen, you don't quite know what it is with these monsters. Welcome to a whole new universe of gods and monsters.
Wait,
it's going to be good. It's going to be good.
Dr. Jekyll is Kurt Russell, and then Mr. Hyde is Russell Crowe.
Oh, that would be something.
Just cast two actors. Instead of then you don't have to just make one of them slightly yellow.
Yeah.
Russell becomes bad.
And Russell Crowe could use his Russell Crowe energy to be Mr. Hyde, and that might actually work.
Yeah. Oh, man. And I don't think Kurt Russell could pull off an convincing Cockney accent. He just doesn't seem like that kind of guy.
Yeah,
I'm sure
right?
He could do okay, but it's not what he's known for. Okay, back to this movie. This movie was good. I don't know. We got to talk about spoilers. Anything else about this movie that was fun? Interesting lack of score. It's very little. Like there was like that horror movie music, but I don't think it really went overboard with that. Just interesting.
Yeah, it was. I don't really remember much of any music other than like you said, the traditional like da-na-na-na, like horror movie stings and stuff. But yeah, no, I genuinely think this movie is really cool. It kind of falls apart towards the end, but it's still really worth watching for everything before that. So honestly, like you should go see it. If you care about spoilers, go see it before you listen to this. But if you don't, you should listen to this because we're about to be really funny and charming and great.
Yes.
So you should, even if you want to go see it first, put this on pause, go see it, and then finish listening to us because we're great. That's where I've ended up on this. We're talking about the movie.
Well, then.
I would say, too, I really do. I mean, I tweeted this, and I've been on this train for a while. I really think Leigh Whannell is a good director. It almost makes me want to see Insidious Chapter 3, the only other movie he has directed. Besides, apparently, he's on the hook for Escape from New York remake. which, speaking of Kurt Russell movies, that is a movie that does not need to be remade, but he just does good. He's a fun action director. Not like just action, but he does fun stuff with camera. He takes camera on a fun little trip.
He do good camera.
Yeah, that's what they say in Australia. He's a director in America, but he's a camera doer in Australia and a camera doist in New Zealand because it's a little different. Yeah, I don't know. There's some specific. I mean, so there's shots where the Invisible Man is in the shot, but not really. But the shot knows it. Those are kind of fun. And then there's shots where people are fighting that are very fun because of the way the camera moves.
And there's some really good, like, long pans and, like, shots of rooms that linger where it's like you feel like he might be in there, but they don't. They give you just enough for you to wonder where he is and what he's doing, but not enough for you to really know. It's actually very effective.
Yeah, he loves evil pans in this movie. And they're cool. Any other actors that were anything interesting to you?
I like Aldous Hodge.
Yeah. Did you know what he's from?
I couldn't place it.
So he's from a bunch of things, I guess. He's in like Hidden Figures. I might got his IMDb on now. He's in that show Turn, Washington Spies. And apparently he was in Straight Outta Compton. I don't remember where. He is also one of the kids in Die Hard with the Vengeance that goes to Samuel L. Jackson's shop and is like fighting over like a VCR or something in the very beginning. And Samuel Jackson, whatever his name is, Zeus something, is like, hey, kids, don't fight. And then I'm pretty sure that's the last we see of him. But it's a fun little thing I just learned. He was good. He was pretty good. Sister was okay. I didn't mind the sister. I found her a little, like, not like super unlikable, but a little like unbelievably unlikable kind of.
What was her relationship to the guy, the Aldous Hodge's character?
I have no idea. Very, very, very good friends.
Trying to figure out ex-wife, ex-girlfriend.
According to the Wikipedia page I have pulled up right now, they are childhood friends.
Thanks, movie. You made it so clear.
Yeah, you're usually allowed to sleep in your childhood friend's daughter's bed. Like that's a normal thing people do.
I legit thought that Elizabeth Moss's sister was like the mom of the girl, and like, that's what I thought.
I did too for a second. I
making
thought that
her the aunt.
Mm-hmm. She felt like the aunt.
Yeah.
Which I guess some people are. Like your a parent's very good friend is also kind of like a family friend aunt kind of relationship. But yeah, that was a little bit confusing. What was that? What was I going to say? What did you think of the brother, the Adrian's brother, the will executor?
Oh, God, get him off the fucking screen. I mean, he did give off like sleaze.
Yeah, he was a good little slimy little boy.
But like I don't know,
good slimy little boy.
Sure,
that just rose up on the monster chain very very far. Slime boy.
I don't know who this actor was, but yeah, keep playing slimy characters, I guess. But, I guess it was effective in being like, oh, just get him off the screen.
So this actor is Michael Dorman. He was in
a
show
Michael
called Patriot.
Borman.
Damn.
Whoa. He was in a show called Wonderland. He's in a lot of stuff I don't know. He's probably also Australian or something. Yeah, he's from New Zealand. In real life, he has a mustache that is so much worse somehow.
Challenging.
In terms of being creepy, yeah. I'll send you here. Don't look at it. Don't like go find it yourself here. I'm gonna put a link in the chat. Enjoy this. This is his like IMDb page. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That is worse.
No bueno. I mean, maybe it's just the picture and the smile, but I mean, he's fine. He's fine.
He should have had that mustache in the movie, because then I would have like really believed he's just what a skis.
Yeah, that's about it. I'm trying to think. Anything else? I don't know. That's all I got. Do you want to do the spoiler part now?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But before that, everyone should, I would say watch it. It's fun. It's a little long. But it's pretty good. It's better than you would expect. It's the best monster movie any of this company has made in 50 years or something. Like, beats the shit out of all the other ones we've talked about. But, yeah.
Anything else you want to say, DJ?
Yeah, I would co-sign what you said, Diggins. Like, go see it. Like, I felt a certain way about the movie, but I generally think it's worth seeing. So That's all I got.
All right. start with the spoilers. So here on out, spoilers. All right, let's do the IMDb game. Let's do the IMDb summary of this movie, because I didn't want to do it in the beginning because it's a little bit not spoilery, but it gives you some information. Diggins, take a shot at it. What do you think?
Okay, so it gives you a bit of information, which means it probably says a little more than it should. So I'm going to say Cecilia Elizabeth Moss finally escapes from her abusive, controlling boyfriend, Adrian, only to find that he has killed himself. But soon, mysterious events lead her to believe that he is still in her life, invisibly manipulating events. He's found a way to become invisible and still torture her. What? So she needs to do something about that.
Fucking kill him, that's what.
I don't know.
She could do nothing but kill him.
That's it. That's the end. That's the tweet.
Very good. All right. DJ, what do you think?
All right. After finding out that her husband, who she ran away from, killed himself, what was her name? Claire?
Cecilia,
also not married.
Wait, really?
Yeah, just like ex-boyfriend or whatever.
I thought they were married. You sure they weren't married?
I don't think so.
Sure?
There wouldn't have been the whole thing about the inheritance if they were married.
Yeah, I think
she would have inherited it immediately.
Although he might have had like some sort of weird clause in his relation, like in their.
That's a good point.
Anyway, they're not married.
What's Cecilia, after running away from her ex-boyfriend, guy who's an optical professional?
Good detail, DJ. We'll hold on to put that in our back pocket. Optics genius,
shit with
man.
the eyes. After learning he's killed himself, she must find out why these strange occurrences keep happening, which leads her to believe that Adrian might actually still be alive.
Okay.
I know that's probably the worst one I've done in a while.
No, I think DJ got closer.
DJ's better at these than me generally. He's got the cadence of the IMDb summary down.
Yeah, and I think it's weird because sometimes they're better than other times, and this one I think is more on the nose. Not on the nose, but I think this one gets the tenor and like what the movie is.
Who the main character is.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. All right, when the leader of a team of scientists volunteers to be the test subject for their experiment in human invisibility, he slowly unravels and turns against them with horrific consequences.
You're just reading the Hollow Man IMDb.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. When Cecilia's abusive ex takes his own life and leaves her his fortune, she suspects his death was a hoax. As a series of coincidences turns lethal, that's the thing I wanted to avoid, Cecilia works to prove that she is being haunted by someone no one else can see. So DJ got the takes his own life bit. And like the way DJ framed the beginning of his was very similar to the way it did that. I mean,
we're gonna have some ocular professional stuff in there because like that's his thing, right? He's the ocular professional.
He works at optics. He's young optics genius. What does he invent? Do we know what he's famous for?
We don't even know what he's done. He's just a great ocular man.
He's just an Elon Musk stand-in.
Yeah.
Ugh, gross. No wonder I hate him so much.
And he's like if Elon Musk was like mushed up with Christian Grey from the 50 Shades of Grey series, he's basically Christian Grey.
He punches through a window, and I cannot explain how hard that is to do.
Yeah,
like he might be an ocular professional. He also might be the world's strongest man, because
we'll have things to talk about this man's strength. That's gonna come up. Apparently, spoiler alert, being covered in a suit of cameras gives you super strength.
Yeah. Makes you invincible.
There's a certain point where you're just like, I know they can't see you, so you have a huge advantage, so I buy that you win. But he's like laying dudes out in one punch, and I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
He's also One Punch Man.
I assume this suit is pretty heavy. It's not, because at certain points she's holding it, and it's like a big, it's about as heavy as I guess like a sheet would be. But like it's a whole little array of cameras. And it's the first one you would assume, so it's not that good. I mean, it's great, but like it's not like this is a mass produced thing. This is like the prototype.
I still don't understand what it does. Like, I get it. It's a lot of cameras, but does it just reflect what is around it?
Yeah,
Because
So this is an idea that that has been theorized as a way you could do invisibility, but obviously has a lot of challenges and has never actually been made. But essentially, you have cameras all over that are filming what is happening, like, all around you, and then they are projecting onto like a screen or something that like covers the suit what the person should be able to see if they were looking, if you were not there. So like the cameras on the back are projecting like what they see to show on the front, like just like the rest of the hallway if you're standing in a hallway. Obviously it's much more difficult and imperfect than it shows in this movie, and again, no one has ever actually invented it, but it is a real theorized thing.
All right. I mean, I feel like we could just be in the Far From Home scenario where it's a lot of drones. He could have invented a series of drones to hide him from
and then he could have
seen.
been done illusions too. Trapped Spider-Man in a snow globe. He also like. Have you guys ever seen Mission Impossible 4? I think is the one, Ghost Protocol. Yes. So they have a bit like that with a hallway where they're like sneaking in a hallway and they have like a projector screen and the screen just shows what would be in the hallway behind them. But the thing that the screen does that this doesn't do that I think, I mean, listen. There's no real invisibility, whatever. So sure, I'll let the movie get away with it. However, in the movie in Ghost Protocol, the computer that projects the thing is constantly tracking your face, so it knows what direction you're looking at it from, and it's showing you that direction. And then when another guy comes into frame, the computer loses, like it's like oh, and then it just keeps switching perspectives. So like if two people were both looking at the Invisible Man at once, one of them would see him.
Yeah.
But hey, man, it's fine, whatever. It's a movie.
It certainly is.
Yeah, it's that or a Hollow Man where you just inject yourself with chemicals and then you're invisible forever. But
I might have preferred that.
Kind of, because then it's like more of a commitment, honestly. Because I want to get at this. We could start here. So, abusive relationship, right? Adrian, like, controls her. I guess, like, she tells us he's, like, abusive, kind of generally, and she, like, lives with him and doesn't. She has a phone, but she's not allowed to, like, leave.
She's a prisoner in her own home.
It's like she's not. Essentially, it's not that she's, like, literally physically imprisoned, but he is a very controlling personality and like won't let her say or do things he doesn't approve of, and gets violent if she tries to.
Right.
So it's a there are abusive relationships like that. Many abusive relationships are like that. So it's just trying to be, I think, a more realistic version of that situation.
So then he fakes his own death. We will learn this, like, I mean, we learned it pretty much immediately, because we know that Elizabeth Moss is having Hollow Man, like she's getting Invisible Man, Hollow Man, where like there's like bits where it's like the stove is turning on by not like turning on by itself, I guess, but like the burners are turning way up and knives are falling on the floor, and she's like he's there, he's using his some magic. Or
I don't know how, but he's doing it.
Yeah. My question is, like, why? What's he get out of this? Yeah.
Oh, it's like that pleasure of the control, right? Like, he gets to make her stop doing her normal routine and own her, basically, but he has the benefit of not her realizing it's him.
Or at least no one else knows. Because, like, we've reached a point now where, like, her friends and family know that he's abusive. So even if she went back to him, like they would know. I guess
that's fair.
Now it's like with this, like now everyone thinks she's crazy when she tries to blame him.
Well, I guess, so but there's bits where
it affords that level of control.
There's bits where she's like, Adrian's doing this, and they're like, Adrian's dead. It's not like they're like, she's like, he's in my house, he's invisible, and they're like, it's impossible, he's dead. As opposed to like, it's impossible, people can't be invisible. It seems like it's just like kind of giving them both. I don't know. Sometimes it's funny how much people use Adrian's death as a way to explain that away. Almost like it's more convenient. Whereas you kind of think you'd go, well, listen, there aren't invisible men, and also he's dead would be like a secondary explanation. But later we'll find out that he is not dead. And the bigger reveal later in the movie, which, screw it, let's throw this one out there now. She is pregnant with his baby, little invisible baby.
I felt like that one I saw coming a mile away, because she mentions early on he wants a baby. When she's on the phone with the doctor after she faints because he drugs her, you can hear the doctor being like, oh, there's something else I wanted to talk to you about, but I don't think I should do it over the phone.
Right.
So like I was like, oh, she's pregnant. I got it. Okay.
So then what's Adrian's end game there? Heroically come back to life to raise this baby? Or just
that's
like raise
the weird
it in his
part.
home?
It sounded like what so we're full spoilers now. So
Yes.
eventually we learn that the brother is in on it, and he like offers her an out after things have really gone to shit. It sounds like what they were going to do is essentially like take on new identities and start a life somewhere else.
Because he's rich, he can do whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah, I think that's what the plan was.
I guess that's fair. I mean, it's crazy, but I guess that is what they were going for. But then does he get his riches? I guess his brother would get some riches and be able to like get him to him. He would just become a new optics billionaire. Like after the death of optics billionaire Adrian whatever, he was succeeded by a different similar looking optics billionaire named John Flansley from Michigan.
John Flansley.
John Flansley actually bought Adrian's house. Look at that. He wears bandages all the time. Different guy.
He's a burn victim.
So how about that? Let's do that real quick. Did you guys love it when they had a guy in bandages in the movie? Real quick.
It was a cute. I mean, it was there for like 2 seconds. It was cute.
So the camera kind of lingered on it, and it almost felt to me like in universe, this was the first, like not like it didn't, because it didn't feel like this, but this would have been the part where you explain in universe, like, oh, she remembers the Invisible Man book from childhood. It could be an Invisible Man. Also, I'm assuming the Invisible Man book doesn't exist in this universe. It can't, because in the book, the guy's name is Adrian.
The book doesn't exist in vampire movies.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And people in zombie movies have never heard of zombies.
Right, unless it's like a cheeky little take on it. Yeah, it's usually like there is none of the literature that inspired the thing, which, hey man, it's fine. I think at some point we would have thought about what if an Invisible Man, you know, like there are X-Men that do that and stuff.
What if a man what you can't see?
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm pretty sure the first X-Men villain ever was a character named the Vanisher, even before Magneto. And I think he could teleport, but he might have been invisible at some points. So, like, it's not that crazy of an idea. I would imagine in some fashion or another, there have been some sort of story with a guy, what if he was invisible? Probably not the book, but something. And from watching those things, I think we'd all know the couple of ways you get him. Because this movie she doesn't know those things. I think if there was an Invisible Man in my apartment right now, and he kind of made himself, like, known, like, if I started getting suspicious for whatever reason, I could get him in, like, there's so many ways. It's not very hard, right?
Flour.
Yeah, just throw things
does,
in all directions at all times.
Once she starts being really sure that there is an Invisible Man, she does start doing that stuff. Like, with the paint, with the coffee grounds, everything. So I think it's not like she doesn't think of it.
I think she fucks up coffee grounds big time. I think that should have been, like, I don't know. I think, well, and also, I guess he doesn't follow all of the rules of Invisible Man, the traditional rules, because besides just being completely invisible, he also, like in the end where there's rain, that's not really a factor. It's not as much of a factor. It's a little bit of a factor because she's, like, always hiding somewhere, but
it should be more obvious.
Yeah, that's not used to her advantage as well as you'd think. She doesn't do that one thing that I was really waiting for near the end, which we'll kind of touch on as we go. Not like what I was waiting for, but there's a couple of Invisible Man strategies that I think, man, if you've got an Invisible Man situation, go for it. That she does not do. Okay, so Adrian, he's watching her, Also, I like his. I think his name in the book is Adrian or something. I was looking at this, or maybe it's his last name. Actually, I think they share a last name. I don't think we can have characters in movies be named Adrian anymore. I just don't think I can do it. I can't have a character shouting
Why
Adrian
not?
and not think of Rocky.
Oh, really? Going back that far?
If you shout Adrian in a movie, I'm like, yeah, that's Rocky. Also,
Adrian!
yeah, and then you got
That's
Watchmen and all that stuff, which has been we've got a lot of Adrian yelling recently too.
I haven't watched that yet. I need to.
Well, Adrian's in it, the main Adrian, everyone's favorite guy.
I knew he was in it.
Yeah.
So
actually, in the book, his name is Griffin. So in this, it's Adrian Griffin. So maybe Adrian wasn't in there. Like maybe they just came up with that name because it sounds really. Maybe it's like the skeeziest name. Yeah, apparently. Okay. So he fakes his death, gives her how much money? $5 million?
Yeah, $5 million, which is like, holy shit, it's a lot of coin.
It is. I would assume he's worth a lot more than that, right?
You think he's like holding out?
I mean, we saw his house is worth that much money. Like it's,
Yeah.
he is optics billionaire Adrian whatever. He is,
they don't
he is
say
definitely
he doesn't leave her everything. He just leaves her a trust. Right?
right.
So
Had to keep a
that's
little
just-
something to keep the power on in the invisible suit.
I'm really not sure what. Well, I guess no. Actually, I'm not really sure why he gives her the money. Now that I'm thinking about it, I guess to make sure she found out he was dead.
Yeah, why does he give her the money?
The money doesn't really play into it ever.
Well, if she commits a crime, she doesn't get the money.
Right, but if she commits a crime, her life is ruined anyway. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like taking the money away ruined her life in a way that being committed to an insane asylum wouldn't have ruined it anyway.
And it's not like it was like if you commit a crime, any crime, whatever crime, and she commits, like petty theft, and then she goes to jail, and it's like, oh no, she commits murder. As far as the movie, as far as the characters in the movie knows. So that's the crime. All bets are off crime. You don't get your $5 million no matter what. I'm pretty sure you can't just take $5 million cash to jail and be like, no, but this is mine now. So I get to sleep on a pile of this.
You could add that it makes her feel worse about giving the daughter college money and then it's like taken away, I guess.
Yeah, maybe it's to develop a sense of like, oh, things are getting better, and then take it away from her as a form of control, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I don't know. In a movie like this, it feels like it should be more part of the plan than it kind of is.
Yeah. I guess, oh God, see, this is why I'm trying to get at Adrian's endgame. Does he want her to have the $5 million because he wants to start a new life with $5 million? Because then, yeah, you could assume he'd just get it on his own. But then...
I think the $5 million is immaterial, honestly.
Yeah, I think so, too. It is hollow, as they say.
Because we don't know how much his brother got. Maybe his brother got the other, I don't know, that Mike Bloomberg half bill that he got laying around from the optics money.
There's a lot of money there, yeah. So we do learn he is an optics genius, and we go into his workshop, and it's got all the machines.
It's the Tony Stark of optics labs.
Yeah, and then
that very clean, modern aesthetic with the white and everything.
Yeah, and he's like he's I don't know. He's a guy. He's like some guy. He does optics. I guess cameras is what you'd assume he would make, but also he does experiments, and he's building something weird.
He must have invented the perfect eye that if you're blind, you replace him with these and you're good.
Yeah,
because I can't even think of the current leading optics whatever, and even close to that realm.
I think you could sell camera lenses for way too much money to not weirdos, but camera fanatics and make $1 billion. Also, you could probably sell camera lenses to Hollywood and make $1 billion. And the government.
The leading, he should have been the leading, movie effects specialist.
Oh,
that'd
DJ,
be better.
It seems like you want one specific guy. You want a Mysterio type, and you're going to get it no matter what. Although this guy isn't unlike Mysterio. He's very similar. Mysterio is the real Invisible Man. Is the movie better or worse than Far From Home?
Better.
It's different.
It's similar. It doesn't have a snow globe. It's just one big fault. Also, Elizabeth Moss. What was her character's name?
Cecilia.
Cecilia doesn't get hit by a train at one point. That's a really fun little bit from Spider-Man.
I think the movie might have ended pretty quickly if that one had happened.
Yeah, Adrian, on the other hand, he would have gotten right back up. Train or nothing, whatever. Okay, so he gives her $5 million. Yeah, that is confusing. And then she's like scared to leave her house, and then she isn't anymore.
Well, because she thinks he's dead.
Yeah, and she gives what's his name's daughter, her friend's daughter, a college trust, for money to go to college. Now, at the time this happens, I don't believe that kid has gotten into that college yet.
I wasn't sure about that.
Yeah, it wasn't clear to me because when they're talking about it earlier, it sounds like it's just like, I'm only applying to this school.
Yes.
And then later, they're like, oh, you're going there. Like the only barrier was the money. So
right.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. I think they...
No.
Yeah, Perseus was also confused about that. It seems like a really weird thing. Like you could do that with any random person, and it would feel really weird if they didn't get into college. Just be like, here, you've got all the money you need for the college, and hopefully now the last part you got to get in it, or otherwise this is all the money you need for some other college. I guess I don't know. That bit was strange. Okay, and then Invisible Manning starts happening around her. What's the first Invisible Manning we get? I can't remember.
Fucking like turns the stove up high. Some low stakes Invisible Manning.
Yeah.
He steals a knife and then turns the stove up. Turns the stove up so that it causes a fire.
Right.
Yeah, while she's making breakfast. It wasn't just like the stove turned on. It was like, whoa, turn the stove on. She's making breakfast. So seemed pretty innocuous. You know,
innocuous, DJ.
Innocuous. Boo.
Oh.
Yeah, I think that. What was the purpose of that? Just to make her seem like she's forgetting things?
I don't know why he's doing such low stake things to begin with. It's like, because the movie's gonna happen.
It's because he understands the conventions of horror. You know, you have to start with little things that build up over time. You know.
I was gonna say he also knew he needed to do a couple Chekhov's guns. We needed to find out where the fire extinguisher was in the house, and we needed to figure out where the knife was going to be and stuff like that.
Yeah. He's just a really good storyteller, and he knows that you have to build up to these things.
So, way to go, Adrian. Actually, you know what? He's a cool guy. He's pretty good. Maybe he could be a movie producer in a different version of this. So then you get the scene in the bed. So, this character... Cecilia sleeps in the same bed as the daughter because she's scared.
She is in like a guest room, but she feels like she's being watched at one point, or she hears a noise, which we know is Adrian, but she doesn't know about him yet, and she gets really scared, and so she goes and sleeps with the daughter to, I guess, make her feel better.
That's strange to me. I assumed she was to some extent with the cop boyfriend, like what they were together at some point or something. It was they have an interesting relationship.
I just thought it was like good friends. I never got the together part.
I guess that's fair.
It was never, unless he's the most protective and trusting person ever, you know.
Yeah, well, like he's, I don't know. He's just a good guy who's good and stuff, and he's good. That's all you need. But so she's in the bed, sleeping in bed with this girl, like opposite sides of bed, and so the Invisible Man takes the blanket off of them. Which, having watched the Hollow Man trailer recently, that happens in that. So maybe that's like a very solid convention of Invisible Man. Yeah, the
classic
to the
Hollow Man.
And Hollow Man stands.
And she wakes up and then
stands.
sees what? Do you guys remember this bit? This is interesting.
She sees a mannequin.
Yeah.
But it's like, it seems to be her mannequin.
Yes.
Well, the daughter's mannequin.
Yes,
right.
Right.
The thing
Daughter's
is just
fashion
in the
school.
room.
Now, is the mannequin dressed like the Invisible Man is traditionally dressed?
I mean, not
No,
completely.
there's just like stuff on it.
But it has like a hat, like a fedora, right?
It has like a hat and a coat, so it looks vaguely similar. It's not exactly the same.
Okay. I wasn't sure if that was also supposed to be an homage to the actual book, not Hollow Man.
It might have been
I'm
a
sure
little
Hollow
nod.
Man does it at some point. And then, so he does that, and it's like, she's like, that's strange, that's odd. And then, what does he do next in the room?
He steps on the blanket, right?
Is that it? Yeah.
Well, no, he does something else that
Right?
makes her feel like that there's someone
being
in
watched.
What the heck was it?
Or I think she just starts
I
to
agree.
get weirdly suspicious. Like,
He,
she thinks he's in the chair, so she throws the blanket over it.
There's something else he does in the room. Turns on the stove in the room really loud or really hot. What was it?
Loves
I
that
don't remember.
stove. I don't remember either.
Let me look through this Wikipedia summary I have pulled up.
He picks up some like Barbie dolls and goes, "Woo! They're flying! It's me, the Invisible Man, Adrian."
That scene is not even in this Wikipedia summary.
Well,
so
it's basically another terms of stakes of like, now I'm making it clear to you that I am here. It's basically all this is.
Yeah, well, part of what I was saying earlier, where what he wants to do is make her feel isolated by letting her know that this is happening, but also it's a thing that no one else will believe, so it makes her start to feel crazy, even though she is aware of what's happening.
Exactly.
And I guess we already have bits up until that point. Is that the bit where she goes outside? I mean, not in this bit, but
that
before
that was before she goes to the bed. That's something she does.
Yeah,
Although,
so he's
I don't
like
think
breathing behind her.
She doesn't notice that, though. She just
No,
feels
but
like things are weird.
And she notices
That's for
the
us,
open
the
door
audience.
at that point. Yeah, that's a trailer shot if there ever was one. Also, so we're going to talk about the trailer. The trailer has a bunch of bits that aren't in it, right? Handprint
Yes.
on the shower. That was not in this movie.
Nope.
Okay, cool. I didn't know if I was just seeing
probably
things.
too invasive. Maybe that's my guess.
A little too creepy. We didn't want to turn the audience against poor Adrian. We wanted it to be a slow burn. I don't know. Maybe
I don't know.
that happens in Hollow Man. There's a shower scene. Although Hollow Man was like, listen, Hollow Man's great. Yeah,
it seems like you
can't
really want to
stop.
do Hollow Man, Nando.
It's so
Yeah,
bad.
do you
It's
wanna do
so
Hollow
bad.
Man?
I don't really want to do Hollow Man, no.
I don't believe
kind
you.
of. I don't know. I kind of do. They cover him in plastic. It's
Wait,
so weird.
Nando, have you been making a bunch of fake Twitter accounts and tweeting that we should do Hollow Man?
Oh,
because
yeah.
You
God, this
really
makes
want to
so
do Hollow
much more
Man?
sense.
Hollowstan 4582 is not me. That is a different guy who is existing and real. I think the funny thing about Hollow Man is they do good Hollow Man. They like have good Invisible Man tactics. They know what they're doing. They not like they know what they're doing, but they think it through.
They're a bunch of scientists who helped make the Invisible Man, so
Yeah.
they know about it and have been studying it. Cecilia just figures it out.
Like, not to spoil Hollow Man, but it ends in a room with heat signatures and stuff. They all use heat sensors. They just find him. It's pretty clear where he is, and
Feels like it's a pretty anticlimactic ending. I don't know what that guy could do in that situation. He's just a dude.
well, yeah, it is like that. It kind of becomes that at the end. But they also do this other thing. Anyway, we'll get to it. So then he steps on the blanket. He's in the room. He is in this room with the daughter, the dad who will bust into the room later, and Cecilia. And she's like, "There's a Hollow Man here." And he's like, "No." And I think he still has to be in the room, right?
Yeah. There's no way he got out.
This is another thing. Adrian is super good at moving very quickly and very quietly.
Very quietly.
The suit's also a stealth suit. You
Yeah,
guys
you'd think
didn't
it'd be
know.
so loud. Cause
Yeah, when it's off, it's like clicking and shuddering constantly.
yeah, it's like a little snake.
But it's totally silent when it's on.
Just make him magic or something. I don't know. Give him a pill.
Yeah,
but
I'm
even
with
then,
ya.
you'd be like, well, where is the noise of him going? Because he does breathe. We've seen this. He like breathes, so like you would hear him kind of, I guess, not really, but also you figure he would be panting and like being like, but he's so cool. He's like not cool, but like he's so like calm, and this is his whole plan. It doesn't get him. I don't know. Adrian's
Well, also,
weird.
he's the strongest man ever. Let's not forget.
Yeah, that's true. He doesn't need to breathe like Superman.
He punches through a car window with his bare fist. He's not in the
Yeah.
suit. He just punches through it.
So, this is a thing that I thought I noticed and then only very later realized I was wrong. There was something about the close-up of his hand after he punches through the window when he's like standing in the middle of the road. I thought it looked like he had a robot hand. Like he had a prosthetic, and that was
Whoa.
why he could punch through it.
Interesting.
Is that true?
No, it's not. He has 2 normal hands later.
That would be
Oh,
great.
okay.
But something about that shot made me think like, oh, he has a prosthetic, and that's why his punches are so good. Which made me think later on when he was punching dudes, I was like, well, he's using his prosthetic, okay. But then the first twist happens, and I was like, wait a second. And then later Adrian shows up and has 2 normal human hands, and I was like, well, I guess I was just fucking wrong.
Maybe he was a robot hand guy all along. That would explain nothing, but also, explain that, and it would explain how he tied himself up with his hands. I guess his brother did that. I don't know, man. This movie's weird.
Man, when we get there, I want to know what the fuck the brother thought was going to happen.
Yes. Anyway, okay. So then, she's like, "There's an invisible man. He's invisible manning." She goes to a job interview and forgets her papers, but she doesn't. He took them.
Her design portfolio.
Yeah,
She's
an architect.
That's right, and
And she's going to work for the Google of architect places, it seems like.
also
Places.
With a dude who is inappropriately hitting on someone he's interviewing.
I was gonna say, okay, I wasn't sure if I misread that, but yeah, he seemed
that was
nice
fucked
after
up.
that. Like he seemed like he was cool with her not bringing her papers to work or to interview. But yeah, he's just a creepy guy. But then she faints because she has been being drugged. Like there were drugs in her system.
Yes.
Yes.
That is correct.
Because Adrian was giving her, like, I guess, dropping this into water when she wasn't looking. Some sort of, like, what was this drug?
Diazepam.
Yeah, I don't know what it does, but as an interesting little haha, it's the same drug that she drugs him
Right.
with to escape.
That's right.
Literally, because she drops the bottle when she escapes and he picks it up. So it's literally the same diazepam that she was using. Which, diazepam is a real drug.
So how did she get it?
I
She's-
don't know.
Those drug friends that you have when you're rich.
Well,
I get-
diazepam,
yeah.
diazepam is just the generic of Valium.
Oh, okay. So she might
So.
just have it for that, just for, like, other reasons. She may have gotten it prescribed to her and had a great idea. Oh, also, she sneaks out of his house. That scene is, like, tense-ish, but it almost felt like cartoony how she gets caught.
Yeah. I thought that was weird. The dog bumps into the car and sets up the car alarm after
Yeah.
like all this. Like
I like
it's a
that
good scene.
I like
I
that.
did too. Also loved the titles, the opening titles, where it was just like
with the waves
water
crashing.
onto That felt cool, and also like there's some sort of like not Photoshop filter, like After Effects filter to do it, like just particle effects. There was a lot of fun particle effects in this movie, and you know what? Go for it. It's an Invisible Man movie. That's what you do. Okay. So then, art school bad. Not art school, architecture interview, bad. Then she goes,
faints.
yeah, she faints, and she goes
Hospital.
to the hospital where she sees Invisible Man homage. Then where does she go? Oh, then she tries to go to her sister, right? Or is this
I don't think that's quite yet.
the
No,
daughter?
She goes to take a shower.
Oh yeah, we would have gotten the handprint, but we don't get the handprint.
Yep.
Then she gets the call from the doctor and finds Adrian has placed the bottle of diazepam in the bathroom after she left. So
That's right.
this is when she figures out what's happening.
Yeah, because that's the exact one, and it's even like a little bloody from when Adrian punched through the car window like Superman.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So then, is this when the daughter thing happens?
No, they go to the brother and she's like, "Tell him to
Yeah.
stop." And
Oh, yeah.
and the friend is like, after he realizes what they're there for, is like, maybe you should rest.
Yeah. I mean, the brother is weird too, though. He's like Adrian controlled me too. He's the most controlling person ever, and I don't know. I guess like he just seems like he goes from being a controlling like abusive boyfriend to like criminal mastermind, like almost like a certain other Adrian from fiction, like just the greatest guy. He couldn't even believe it, like a Lex Luthor type, which was a little odd for me. But hey, man, whatever. It's
Yeah.
a movie. Did you?
It is a movie.
If there wasn't were it not for the trailers, would there be a time in this movie where you'd be like, oh, maybe it is her? Like maybe she is crazy?
I wanted it to be that, but it wasn't.
I know, because the movie's called Invisible Man and is based on the Invisible Man property from Universal. I think it was a good move because of that, where people would have been like really pretty sure that there was an Invisible Man in this movie. It was a good move to center it more around the impossibility of being believed than the uncertainty of whether you're right.
Yeah, that's
is
a
fair.
good point.
So then do we get the daughter thing after that?
Yes.
Okay. So then the daughter is sitting with her, and they're just talking. And then Adrian...
Actually,
she's
the
like
sister,
crying.
The sister thing happens first, because she's crying because of the sister thing.
Yeah, because that's what breaks her.
Oh, okay. Explain the sister thing, Diggins.
Well, she just goes to see her sister, and is like, hey, can we talk about stuff? And her sister's like, I read the email you sent me, and fuck you. Which is like, on the one hand, like, it seems like that email was extremely hurtful. On the other hand, when she's like, I don't send an email. What are you talking about? I don't know. I feel like I would be like, you didn't send it?
Right.
Because I feel like there's explanations for that. Even if you believe Adrian is dead, be like, hey, maybe he hired someone to hack into my email and send that to you.
Right.
You know, just to mess with me after he died. And I as the sister would be willing to entertain that option and like talk to her about it.
Yeah, she leaves no room for like anything but you definitely sent this fucking email, you bitch.
It's very
There's
strange.
nothing else.
This section in general, I feel like her friends and family are a little quick to be like, there's no other option than that you're horrible.
Especially because they know she went through trauma.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're not just able to be like, oh, like maybe you had like some sort of mood swing or something. Maybe I need to take you to the hospital, or not hospital, but like to a doctor. And nah, she's like, man, I'm so tired of all your shit. You're the worst. Like, she saved her from Adrian. She saw Adrian try to kill her
And
like,
punched through a window.
Yeah. It's crazy that she's not on her side for this one.
Right? And, like, you know the brother's still around. She probably, like, understands that he's a dick. Like, like, email hacking's not insane. She's not like, it's not like, I don't know, I saw this signed letter you sent me with your fingerprints on it. It's like, no, it's like fucking email. Come on, it's 2020.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things in play.
I mean, they never say it directly. I think the implication is there was a lot of personal information there that leads her to believe that only like someone who knew her well could have sent it. But it still leaves the possibility that Adrian like set something up beforehand. If he was that controlling, I don't think that's crazy.
Yeah. Okay, so then we get the daughter thing. DJ, can you explain the daughter bit?
Yeah, so after the sister dismisses her and cuts her out of her life because she sent the email, Cecilia feels like she has no one to turn to, so she's just on the floor crying, like in the fetal position. And the daughter, who's like still pretty cool, says, hey, why don't we kick Dad out of the house, have a girls' night in, eat some ice cream? And Cecilia's like, that sounds like a great idea. And then, so I'm going to try and set this up because it's interesting.
Yeah, the staging of this is very important.
They're talking more or less face to face. And they're probably about maybe 5 feet apart.
Yes.
Roughly. And the daughter's crouching down while Elizabeth Moss is more or less in the fetal position. I can't stress that enough. She's basically in the fetal position. Maybe
And like 3 feet away.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah, something like that. Then, from the daughter's, while she's crouched down, from her right flank, she is shoved. And
No, she is punched full in the face.
Yeah.
oh, right, sorry, yeah. She's punched in the face from her right, and she, like, freaks out. She's like, why'd you do that? Why'd you do that? What's going on? And then the dad comes in and is like, what the fuck? And she's like, she hit me. And it's like, oh my god, I would never. Because obviously, why the fuck would I hit you?
At this point, it's over. Like at this point, it's like you've been figured out. Or like, it's all or nothing here. All bets are off. So either you plead with them, or you maybe try to prove that the Invisible Man, who's probably still in the room, is somewhere in the room. And
Yeah, like,
doesn't do that.
Understanding, like, hey, daughter, I forgot her name, I'm sorry. Like, remember how,
Sydney.
like, Sydney, I was like this, and then you got hit in the face? Maybe we could see that and she, like, flies, like, a foot to the right, like, after she's punched.
Yeah, it's
Because
a
he
hard
is the strongest man alive.
Yeah. Like,
He is much like Ozymandias, the perfect man.
She flies over, and it's like, yeah, like immediately after that happens, I get that it's shocking, but you don't hear footsteps. He's somewhere in the room. Just be like, we gotta find him. We gotta find him.
Yeah, just throw blankets, everybody. We're in a room, right? Just throw things. Throw things, like, not like you don't have to. You can lob things, but it's good. Something's gonna hit him. But no, they just leave, and then
Yeah.
And
So
like,
then
I
she
understand
starts-
the dad being panicked because he wasn't there, so
Right.
he doesn't know all those reasons why it's impossible. And also, his daughter is saying she just got punched in the face.
Yeah.
So of course he would be mad about that. But he also just jumps immediately to like, "We're leaving, and you better not be here when we get back." Like, no discussion, no anything. Just like immediately, like, get out, PTSD sufferer. You're not welcome here.
Like,
Yeah.
not even questioning, like, wait, are like talking out, like, are you sure she hit you? Are you 1,000% sure the woman who is giving you $10,000 a semester punched you full in the face with enough force
$10,000 a month.
Yeah.
oh, my bad, a month hit you to make you like, are you certain that's what happened? I feel like the daughter might be like, no, that doesn't seem right.
Right, or like I just think Cecilia is really bad at like coming up with excuses or like de-escalating these situations. And I get why she's a little unnerved, but still there would be like at least a second where he'd be like, hold on a second, hold on. Okay, you know where I was and where you were. I understand maybe the dad freaking out, and I even understand the kid freaking out, but not like freaking out, but overreacting. But I don't know. I mean, I've never been in an Invisible Man situation, so I don't know how well I would react, but I'd like to believe I would be able to convince the people in my life that I'm not in an Invisible Man situation.
Were I Cecilia, I would simply calmly explain that he is invisible.
Yes, that's exactly it.
And the weird thing is, too, is like, she even at one point, I forget when exactly it happens, but she raises the point, well, Adrian was an optical specialist, so he's using his optical magic. Like, it's not like he's magic. He's using the thing he's famous for to be invisible.
That would be like saying, like, yeah, well, he was a physics professor, so obviously he invented teleportation. Like,
I mean,
Yeah.
that's not crazy.
it's a little crazy.
He like
break it down. He's in a suit with cameras, or I don't know, find a way to break it down.
yeah, like so then she has a fight with him. And so this is when she starts playing defense, like Invisible Man defense, and
Yes.
doing the things that you do when you want to get an Invisible Man. So this is coffee
Grounds on the floor.
Now, okay, she doesn't know if she believes he is there, and
Yes.
she like wants to kill him, I guess, or defend herself from him.
It seems like kill him. She's just ready to fucking kill him.
So she
There's
has
no
enough
discussion.
coffee grounds to like cover half of a room. Like she's
Yeah.
very
Most of the
liberal
room.
with the coffee grounds. Why not? Like what if he just throws shit at you? You're not. It's yeah, I figure you hold on to the coffee grounds until you're pretty sure he's there, and you throw the coffee grounds, right? You get him with them, but that's not what she does. Also, when does she go into the attic?
Right now. This is when the attic stuff happens.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a long scene of her like doing a bunch of stuff. She thinks to call his cell phone and then hears it up from the attic.
Oh
Yeah.
my
So
god!
so
the
she
cell
goes up there.
phone. Okay, so he has a cell phone that is on, and he has his ringer on vibrate, and it's so loud that you can hear it in an attic when you're on the first floor of a house.
Well, it's a ranch. There's only the first.
Oh yeah, that's fair. But like, that's a crazy way to catch the Invisible Man.
Well,
he left his cell phone ringer on.
I thought the implication was that he wanted her to find that. Like, he set it
does
up that
seem
way
like that.
because he put all the stuff he'd been stealing up there. It
The
seems like
knife.
the knife, the portfolio. It seems like he deliberately wanted her to find that.
Oh really?
Yeah, why else would he put the knife in like a plastic bag?
So he didn't get his fingerprints on it
Oh.
because he was going to
point.
use it for murders later.
Hey, good point, Nando.
Yeah, I thought that was. I don't think that was his. I don't think he was supposed to find. She was supposed to find the cash. I think he got caught.
But he was ready
really?
with the surprise text, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. The surprise text. Well, what did he use that for? Does he have separate cell phones?
Yeah, that's just proof
he's a
that
rich person.
That's just proof that he had set this all up and wanted this to happen because he had a second cell phone that he was using in addition to the one that she knew the number for.
And the cell phone that he had pictures of her on sleeping.
Yes.
That he took on that cell phone?
Yeah.
Can he make the cell phone invisible?
Apparently.
Why not just take it with your body cameras?
Maybe the camera suit has pockets.
Yeah, I guess it does. He's taking pictures of her for fun, I guess. I don't know.
Hey, Adrian, I love your invisible camera suit. Thanks, it has pockets.
So then they have a fight. So this is the part from the first trailer or second trailer that really pissed me off. You see, the second trailer had the bit where she throws paint on him. Which on its own, fine, but in that trailer when she does it, you can see the hexagons or whatever, so you know that it's some sort of suit, and you kind of get the sense for how he's doing it, which I think was a big mistake. But she does throw paint on Invisible Man, and it is pretty effective because, well, it's only a little effective because then he immediately washes it all off in a sink.
Yeah.
It's a little weird.
Pretty quick. None of it dries. Like, I get it, there's like a lot of paint, but none of it dries? Just saying. None of it gets it on a camera. Like, you know how hard, you know so many cameras run that thing? You know how hard that would be to clean?
Yeah.
It's really hard to clean. That's what I'm saying. The Invisible Man gets some powerful bullshit that I think, is because she does do some clever things that should be able to allow her to figure out what's going on fairly early. So
yeah, she and the suit is waterproof, which is handy. It's a really good suit.
Soup's handy.
I don't think you can reasonably assume you could just dunk a camera in water. Like if I put water on a camera, a working super camera / TV screen thingy, I would assume it would break. At least one of the 50,000 of them would break.
You can make waterproof cameras.
So.
Those exist, so
I guess.
Maybe I would think you'd want to use the best cameras you can for your invisibility suit.
Yeah, that is a good point. You want the best cameras for your invisibility suit.
Yeah, all the how-to guides say that,
Yeah. Okay, so then she goes to Adrian's house. The super fancy house full of houses. We find out that the dog has just been living there by itself.
Yeah, that dog, I think that dog would have starved to death or ran away, more realistically. That's why she takes off the thing. She lets herself get caught.
Well, she takes the thing off, but then she leaps over a wall. So I'm like, how was the dog going to do that?
Yeah.
He can't leave the complex.
This was like kind of like Star Wars, whatever it is, Last Jedi, where it's like, you're free now on this island. Good luck, little horses. The
funniest thing is, people have come in and, covered his stuff in plastic or whatever. Things have happened. Presumably, police and coroners and such have been there because of the faked suicide. Everyone just left the dog there?
Right? It didn't even get to a shelter? It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and she didn't ask about it when he died, which I get, but, I don't know, man. I figure you want that dog.
Yeah,
dog isn't that helpful either. The dog is just there's an invisible man here real quick.
It warns her at least.
Well, the dog who's a scent-based creature should be a little more, helpful.
Well, the dog does always know when he's there, but he's also only in this scene.
Yeah, that's
true.
the other part.
She should take
that
the dog
with you. Yeah, it seems like you're friends with it.
Always know.
Bring the dog, who's not only a dog and can smell when people are around, but is a dog who knows this specific person and doesn't like him.
And it can fight.
True.
It can bite him. But also, so this is where we learn, and this part really threw me. He has 2 suits, right?
Yeah.
I suppose.
Yeah, he has a second suit, and she steals it. This is where we get
one's
the first
a prototype
suit.
or something.
The suit looks like what'd you say?
I guess one's a prototype.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
Maybe he's wearing the better one,
the stealth one,
the bulletproof one. Yeah. I guess not the bulletproof one, but the bullet-resistant one. This is where we get the first look at the suit. The suit looks like the X-Men Days of Future Past Sentinels. I couldn't get that out of my head.
Especially all the cameras.
Yeah, the way they like tick it to tick it to tick 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 tick. And it's kind of like it's more plasticky than you'd expect. Like it looks like one of those suits that people put on at basketball games, like the like Green Man suits.
I was gonna say, yeah, it looks like a morph suit.
Yes, that's what it is. Yeah.
That's why it's stealth, guys. Come on.
It seems like someone wearing it should. It would be. Well, we'll get to that bit, but yeah. So then she is. If you're an Uber driver, you leave that girl, kind of, right? Or you call the police.
Oh, I don't know. If you're a good guy, you stick with her.
She has the code to get in the house, so she's probably not robbing it or anything. You don't know what house it is, and she's saying like, "Hey, we're out in the middle of nowhere. I will pay you to take me back if you wait." Like, listen,
especially because
you ain't an Uber driver because you don't need the money.
Yeah, he's not going to get other customers out here. Like,
that's fair, I guess.
Best bet.
She seems like he is in a collateral situation where he is going to be an accomplice to a murder. Like just this. Here, hold on, real quick. I'll give you $1 million. Drive me into the middle of the woods, okay? And wait for me, and then we're gonna have to run and leave really fast. Like, okay.
Maybe he's thinking it's more of a Stuber.
Yeah, it might be a Stuber.
Deal. My question is. So it's really far away. Like they drive all night. They get there in the morning. How does he get there like 10 minutes after her? Does he call an Uber?
Right? Is he like on top of their Uber? Because the Uber driver doesn't quite get away as quickly as you'd hope in the very, very beginning. So you figure maybe he's like on the car, but then it's like there's no fucking way.
Maybe Adrian had an invisible skateboard and was skitching behind them the whole time.
Yes. Might as well at that point.
Or Cape Fear situation. He could have been attached to the bottom of the car.
Yes, or
Invisible Man style.
Or what's his name? Or because I've heard, I forget who it was. Some podcast I used to listen to. There was a guy who kind of went through what Michael Myers would have had to have done. Which one's the one where in the first one it's the guy's mom? Is that Michael Myers? Is that Halloween or Friday the 13th?
Well,
that's
hold on. What exactly are you thinking of here?
So there's a series of horror movies where it's usually one guy, but in the first one it's actually that
Friday
guy's
the 13th.
Mom. So the question in this is like, how does Jason from Friday the 13th get from the camp to the people's houses to kill them? And it's like, well, he can't drive a car because he doesn't know how, and he'd never be able to get one. And he can't walk because it's too fast, so he must have a bicycle. That's like the conclusion they come to based off all the information. So I think Adrian has an invisible bicycle that he parks in places.
Does it also have cameras and stuff?
I guess it would have. Yeah, I say it could.
I prefer my invisible skateboard and skitching scenario personally, but invisible bicycle also a strong possibility.
I mean,
I'm going with Cape Fear.
He just might be the fastest man alive too. Like this could just be he could just be able to run at car speed.
We don't show. They don't show that he can't do that, so it's very possible.
I just think it's funny that Elizabeth Moss's one gets in the Uber car, and she's like, drive, and he's like not driving fast enough or whatever. So she's still a little worried. But she doesn't just see. This is if I were in an Invisible Man situation. If I walk into a room, I would just wave my arms around in the room real quick to see if there was an Invisible Man. Like try to touch every part of the room. And definitely do that in the car, just like real quick. See if there's someone on the passenger side, because why not? This guy could pretty much teleport anyway. But yeah, he gets there before her somehow, and
or not necessarily before. He might get there after, but not very long after.
Yeah, a minute or two. And then she hides an Invisible Man suit in a secret part of the closet he doesn't know about.
Yeah, right.
Which we saw earlier because that was where she hid her go bag when she was escaping.
That's right.
Ooh, I did not catch that, so that tracks. Mm-hmm. My bad.
Then they have another fun Invisible Man fight. There's a lot of bits in this movie with fun Invisible Man fights. Some I think are more convincing than others, but more or less it's fun watching like her just take a plate, smack it on his face, and then it just breaks into a million pieces in the midair. Like it's always a fun effect.
I think the ones with her are fun because they're the most convincing. Because he doesn't have to be like the strongest man alive.
Yeah,
like he just has to be stronger than her, and she's average woman. So
what's wrong with that, Diggins?
Average women, the average woman has less upper body strength than the average man. So the average man would be able to overpower the average woman.
That's
So-
not
Wow.
woke,
All right,
bro.
Joe
It's
Rogan,
not woke,
come on.
bro.
So it is still a scary scenario for a woman, even if he's not a particularly strong man, to have him like coming after you.
Diggins
which
is
is
off
why
this
it's
podcast.
effective.
Well,
He is not
especially
woke
because
enough.
all the other men that the Invisible Man is going to beat up later are security guards or police or something, or like
Oh, yeah, they're
orderlies.
like-
they're the
and they're
people
all
you would
men.
expect are definitely there to get an Invisible Man.
They're all strong men.
Yes, like a certain Jack Handsome type, just the best one you could ever imagine. But yeah, those fight scenes are fun. There's a lot of like the Invisible Man, what he loves to do. And I don't think this is a great fight tactic. At certain points at the fight, I feel like you should just start, I don't know, getting a little less creative. He loves to drag you. If he can, he'll pick up you by a foot and drag you as far as he can across the room.
Well,
very
at
fun
least
for him.
for when he's fighting her, it kind of makes sense in that he wants to be doing things that will hurt her but not harm the child that he
Right.
knows about. So
Well, I didn't
like,
even think about that.
yeah, so when he's fighting her, it makes sense that he's being a little careful about what exactly he does.
Avoiding the abdomen.
Yeah.
But yeah, when he's going to fight a cop later, he's like dragging him around the I'm like, what the fuck are you doing,
Yeah,
dude?
then
But-
it's a little silly.
But also, I guess that's not him either. That's the other one, which we'll learn.
It's never him, right?
No, it's Tim. That's
I
what
would say-
him saying surprise means, that it was him.
I would say all but the end is him.
Yeah.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Probably.
He basically all but says it.
We'll save this discussion.
All right, so
All
then
right.
we
Save
go
it.
home. She goes and gets her sister, and she's like, "Sister, I need to talk to you. This is very important stuff. There's an invisible man."
agrees.
She
She's,
agrees.
like, crying.
Meet in a public place, a place where if something crazy happened, everyone would see it. Also, get your camera out just in case. Let's record this.
We need
just
your
in case an
GoPro.
invisible man. Yeah. But so, how did you guys experience this scene?
I told you earlier, ton of bullshit. This is a ton of bullshit.
I liked it. It is
Alright,
bullshit, but I liked it.
Diggins goes then.
All right,
I
yeah.
yield.
Explain, Diggins.
Like,
give
explain
give
what
us set the
happens?
scene.
Yeah. Give it the
So-
enthusiasm that you're bringing to this 5-star podcast.
So they meet at a restaurant, at like some trendy San Francisco restaurant, where they
Yeah.
get in a couple jokes about like, haha, trendy restaurants are bullshit.
Yeah. What is
Wait,
it
can
with
I-
this? Well, oh yeah, go, DJ.
I just want to say one thing. I really like this shtick with the waiter.
Why
there
was
like
that
one part.
there? It was so
I
weird.
I loved it so much.
I was like, so for people that didn't see, the waiter comes up to, so it's like these two women, the sister and the one, Elizabeth Moss,
Cecilia and Emily.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Cecilia, yeah. And Cecilia is clearly like you know, going through some
She's
stuff.
going through it.
Yeah, and Emily is like being nice to her, like, okay, it's fine, we'll figure this out. And this waiter, this dorky waiter, who I would assume, again, like I always say this, he's somebody's nephew or something. Like, he has to be. For a second, I was like, I don't remember what the director looks like, but maybe this is him, but it's not. And he's just like, hi, can I get you something to drink? And they're like, no, we're good. And he's like, okay, I'll give you another minute with the menu. Okay, yeah, we're good. Would you like water? Like, it was just so weird.
It was
so out of place.
good. It did, but it like I don't know why I loved it so much. It was really out of place because you have this really tense scene where Cecilia is really trying to explain the situation to Emily and all the proof she has, and this waiter's just fucking it up so hard.
Yeah.
And like from his perspective, it seems like these two women came to a restaurant to not eat food.
Yeah, right? Like, I've never waited on people in crisis. I was a waiter for a little bit, but not in this specific situation. However, I do think, yeah, you go, okay, I'm going to get some water, goodbye. Like, he doesn't pick up on it at all. He's still doing his goofy waiter thing, which is quite strange. And then what happens, Diggins?
So Cecilia starts to she like lays out, she like has a real heart to heart, like, hey, you've always been so strong, and sometimes that has been difficult for me, but I do really appreciate it, and I need that strength right now. You're my sister and I love you, and I really need you to believe what I'm about to tell you. And it's like, it's a nice moment. And then she's like, listen, I found to Adrian's house and I found out, and then we're like focusing on Emily this whole time, and she like starts, she's like gets a weird look on her face. So Cecilia's like, what? And then we cut back to Cecilia, and there's a knife floating in front of, like, right next to her face, which then goes and cuts Emily's throat, and then, like, twirls around and like, flies into Cecilia's hand. Like,
Yeah.
imagining what Adrian was doing, like, how he did that particular maneuver is kind of funny. But listen, that moment, like, it happens very quickly. Like, by the time you register that there's a knife there, it, like, flies forward and cuts her throat. It's really effective in that sense, in that you're really not expecting it. And it was a shocking moment for me. So even though it's kind of silly in retrospect, I thought it worked very well in the moment.
So, like, a couple things. One, the way Cecilia's at the table, so the way this somehow works, and it's insane. She's got one elbow on the table, her arm's up at, like, a 90-degree angle, and she's got an open hand. Like her hand's making like a C, right? Her hand's open. So Adrian gets the knife, puts it in her hand, but she catches the knife as if, like, she's got those reflexes where it's like, oh, something's in my hand, gotta catch it. It's not like it bounced off her hand, falls on the ground. Like, what would Adrian have done if the whole time Cecilia just has her hands folded in her lap? Because, like, then she could be like, yo, check the prints. Check that knife for prints. My prints are not on that knife. Wasn't me, it was someone else. Like, everything has to work so perfectly for, like, that to transpire. Like, it's pretty bazonkers.
He would have put it between her teeth like a pirate or something. He would have figured it out. He's Adrian. He's been training her and conditioning her to have open hands for knife space his whole life. Also, like,
go, Nando.
I just love this scene because it does have that bit where it's like, wait, a knife? Bam! I like the idea that Adrian's like it's not a soundproof suit. You could assume he speaks and, like, you would hear it. But I like that for a second he's like, ooh. Because that's what it looks like. It looks like a poltergeist, like, ooh, something's in the air. Yeah, he's great.
And, like, if there was any, I would be clamoring, hey, you got security footage? Pull up some fucking security footage. Like, you've ever seen the documentary about how they found out that guy was at the Dodgers game or whatever because Curb Your Enthusiasm was filming that day and they got him acquitted from a murder? Like, just people have phones out and stuff. It's a thing. It's 2020. Like, yeah, there's somebody have a phone, right? Can anybody prove this? That knife is floating for longer than, like, she's holding it. Like, hey, did anyone see a floating knife?
She's also holding the knife. She doesn't drop the knife very quickly.
I don't know why.
I guess she
catches that like a fucking pro.
Put that
I
knife
kind
down.
of thought that he was holding her hand closed.
Oh my god, that's even worse.
No,
it is not what's happening.
Yeah.
Then she does drop it. But I think she's just in total shock. She did just watch her sister get killed in front of her. And for all the bullshit Adrian has pulled on her up until this point, he's never killed anyone.
Yeah.
That is true.
To be fair, not to be fair, but to something else that kind of confuses me. I have seen a lot of movies where people get their throats slit, like, you know, in this fashion or some version of this. It seems so easy. It can't be. Right?
No, there's no way.
It's like a
just
paper
one
cut.
quick cut.
Yeah.
Like, goddamn.
He's a samurai. He's the best.
He's Superman, though.
He really is.
Like,
yeah, he's great. He's
for real.
Ozymandias. He's like he's the perfect man.
Ozymandias is the better analogy because, like, Ozymandias was that strong.
Yeah, rich secret room, Adrian, all that shit. Dog. He's Ozymandias. He also, so then she goes to jail. She goes to a mental
She
hospital?
goes to it seems to be like a mental hospital / holding facility for those accused of crimes.
Yeah.
Like, basically,
like county.
People who have been deemed a danger to themselves or others.
I just took it that she was in county jail.
Well, it's definitely
right?
not just a jail because there's medical professionals there, like injecting her with stuff and like making sure she takes her pills and things. Like, it's definitely in some fashion a health facility.
All right, fair enough.
So then she meets with the brother, and the brother's like, this is where he reveals
Hey,
his evil
you
plan.
want out?
Not his evil plan, but the evil plan.
She gives a great speech where she calls him a jellyfish.
Yeah, that was pretty
my
good.
My theater
I
laughed
liked
at that.
It was good.
Not,
I liked it.
I think the word jellyfish is just kind of silly. My theater, by the way, had a really hard time with this movie. A lot of people talking, a lot of people laughing. I don't think
Really?
movie theater. I'm saying this for years. Movie theater audiences can't handle silence. It makes them uncomfortable.
That's true.
Yeah, it's got to stop. I would have loved to watch this at home.
I feel like you just have the worst luck. I've had like 3 bad movie theater experiences in my life ever.
Ever?
Wow.
Ever.
Man, that's ever.
Ever.
I've had like at least 20.
No, my
At least.
audiences are always great.
Wow, what kind of privileged society you lived in?
That's insane to me. That is insane.
Nah.
Yeah. I would say
Good
I'd
for
come
you,
watch
Diggins.
movies where you are, but I would bring it with me, whatever, like the mojo, the movie ruining mojo. But either way, so then what does the brother say?
Hey, take this. You can get your money back. You live with Adrian. Just call this phone number.
Well, he right before this, one of the nurses or other medical professionals tells her she's pregnant, which she was not aware of
Oh, yeah.
up until that point. So that's technically when we, the audience, find out that she's pregnant.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then right after that is this meeting. So essentially he's like, well, you committed a crime, so we have to cut you off. And here, you can sign this paper to forfeit it to make it legally easier for everybody. Or you could have the baby. And then it's like, whoa, he's in on it. Whoa.
Yeah.
And so he basically lays out what we were talking about before, where Adrian's end goal apparently is you can go off, like, we'll make this all go away. You go off, new identity, new life, both of you. You have the baby, and you guys are a family, and it all goes away. And so that's the offer he makes to her, but she rejects it and steals one of his pens while he's not looking.
Mm-hmm.
Crafty.
Also, it's worth pointing out. I mean, I'm sure we've had this, like, everybody's had this visualization or like realization. Man, Elizabeth Moss, she can't stop getting pregnant and stuff. That's her whole point. I'm pretty sure that's what she did on Mad Men 2 or something. I haven't seen Mad Men
That was a
forever.
season 1 plot in Mad Men, yes.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. She had what was the kid's name? That sucked? Pete. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. Good for her. And
Spoilers for season 1 of Mad Men, I guess.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, season 1's the good one. Seasons
all
1 through
pretty good.
3 are pretty solid. I'd say they get a little fishy near the end.
That's
But,
fair.
I mean, it's a fun show. So now this becomes an action movie, an action horror kind of suspense thriller kind of thing. Because then she tries to fight the Invisible Man.
Yeah, this is where it kind of stops working as well, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she hatches a plan.
And it's a doozy of a plan.
She hides the pen above her shower, and then when she gets like locked in for the night, she goes up to this, turns on the shower, takes the pen, tells Adrian, "You'll never get this baby," and starts to slit her wrist, presumably to kill herself. But when Adrian goes to stop her, she's like, "There you are," and stabs him with a pen a bunch of times to mess up some of the cameras and make his invisibility stop working.
Which, like, it doesn't really do that much. It, like, kind of does, but mostly
Like,
it's
barely.
fine.
It starts glitching enough that people now realize, oh, there really is somebody here.
Now, that means he is in the room with her the whole time.
Yes. And she's like looking at him and like talking to him. And he even whispers, "Surprise," to her when she first gets there as she's like fading away from the sedative.
Right.
So like we know that he's there.
Is this why? So wait, is the two brothers thing, can this explain why Adrian's able to get to the house before she, like around when she is?
Because
But
it's
they-
the brother.
But they only have
Yeah.
the one suit though. So the suit would still have to get there.
Yeah, I guess that's true. How do we know that though? Maybe they have two.
You mean 3?
3, yeah, extras.
Yeah, sure. We don't know how many suits are in play.
I guess they might have 3. I don't know.
Yeah. Who knows? I don't know. It's fine. So then she knows he's in this room with her. Why
Yes.
doesn't she just start doing stuff? Like before all of this Invisible Man fighting, she's being monitored, right? I would
Probably.
assume there's some sort of camera on her. She can't just like flail her arms around. I'm sure she has blankets, throw blankets on him, and then just point at the camera like this. He's here. He's in the thing. Come get him. Like, I don't know, man. It's not that hard to get an Invisible Man, I think. And she gets him, so it's fine.
I want to put you in an Invisible Man situation and see how you do.
Go. Game over, Invisible Man. Because I do the one thing that she doesn't do in here that they do in Hollow Man, which is
Which is proof that Hollow Man's the better movie.
that's right. Yeah, cover him in plastic. No, so they're in the room, like they're in this mental hospital, whatever, thing. She is broken out of the prison not the prison, but her cell by a guy. Someone comes in. He's like, "What's going on in here?" And this is
the
when
guy comes because there's making noise, and it's like, "Hey, stop it!" And then he sees the Invisible Man. He's like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, so this is when the Invisible Man killing spree starts, and Invisible Man is able to kill everybody because they can't see him now.
Kills everyone in like a single punch.
Yep,
He's so good.
This is when it becomes like, what the fuck? Why does this guy have super strength?
yeah, he is really good. And I think at this point, her goal was stab the Invisible Man to death. Didn't work. Her next goal should be...
I felt her goal was stab him so that the invisibility stops working so people know I'm not crazy.
Sure,
I think that was her plan.
So when that fails, your next plan is get him to, like, I guess run away, but also just, like, prove that he's the Invisible Man to another way. You get the sprinkler system going. I feel like that is Invisible Man 101, and then everyone can see him.
She is watching a weather report that says there will be heavy rain, so she intentionally did this on a night where there was heavy rain.
Thank goodness for that weather report.
Idea.
Imagine if they were wrong. Oh, how embarrassing.
Also, she had a window, so she could tell.
Yeah.
Oh, how embarrassing, though.
So embarrassing for her. Because he kills everybody. Now, this is the stuff, I think, part of the stuff that Lee Winnell is great at. Because this action scene as an action scene is great. There's a lot of that, like, camera on someone's face, they fall down, camera falls down with them kind of shot. I don't know what that's called, but he loves that. But yeah, he is... he is destroying people.
At one point, like, the guy pulls out his gun, he stops the gun and immediately redirects it so he shoots himself in the kneecap. Like, insane shit.
Although part of the reason it works is because the security cards just keep showing up in twos, and so nobody sees the other person get Invisible Manned.
Yep.
Bunch of normies.
Yeah, they do.
Send a bunch of people in there with, like, riot gear or something. That's the thing. They're just in, like, normal, like, cop stuff, but, like, if you had a SWAT team, oh, God, it'd be over for Invisible Man.
You don't typically have a SWAT team on hand at a mental hospital.
Riot stuff. You have riot gear in jail.
Well, I don't know how much of it... I don't know enough about facilities for those deemed a danger to themselves or others to say whether or not they would have riot gear. I don't think they're typical prisons, and I don't know that they would have riot gear.
I don't know. A lot of this stuff, I think the Invisible Man gets pretty lucky.
Oh, super lucky. I mean, where does he pee? When he's in the jail cell with her.
In the corner.
Goes in the suit. Right? He just go right in the suit. NASCAR
I guess he does go
man.
in the suit.
Yeah, he's got a
like
diaper
Iron
in the
Man.
suit.
Yeah, astronauts, you know.
Yeah.
We all have different references for that. Astronauts, race car drivers, Iron Man. So, okay. So then he runs. They have a fight in the water or in the rain, but it's only useful for her to know that there is some places he can't be, but he's smart enough to hide so that it's not that useful. Good for him.
Has he practiced being an Invisible Man? Because he's very good at it. Like, did he ever do this shit prior to the fucking with Cecilia?
I would say no.
Maybe he and his brother did a lot of training exercises.
Yeah.
Just Invisible Manning? Because he's so good at it. He's as good as being a domestic abuser as he is being an Invisible Man. Just top tier talent.
I feel like those skills overlap a lot.
Yeah, I think maybe you're just like, he's been thinking about this for a while. I mean, he made an Invisible Man suit, so I'm sure while he was doing that, he was like, what would I do if I was in a hallway? I guess I would, do a flip and shit. You know what? Maybe he was doing really cool shit. Like, he was, like, doing backflips and we just didn't see it. Like, maybe he is Spider-Man. That would actually explain this a lot. Because then he would also explain how he's able to practically, not, like, dodge bullets, but, like, he's never really, he's always kind of, like, I don't know, one step ahead of everybody and behind people and stuff. I don't know, man. It must be fun to be not like fun to be an Invisible Man, but like he is just taking these guys apart. And
I have a question for you guys.
Yeah.
If you had the Invisible Man suit and also the abilities that this Invisible Man suit, like just the ability to break a lot of rules, what would you do? All right, let me open. Here's what I would do.
Steal money, I guess, right?
So I would bet on sporting events and then use my Invisible Man suit to determine the outcome of those sporting events. I would be like tripping dudes on the football field, just like pushing guys over. That's what I would do.
I feel like someone would collide with you immediately and you'd get found out.
And your little footprints would be on the field, and you'd start like the cameras that put the line on the field would start freaking out for some reason, and it'd be like, it's an invisible man. Okay, some sort of robot has been, and the snipers have gotten the robot. Okay.
Well, I guess my invisible man thing wouldn't work out.
I just, I don't know. What would I do if I was an invisible man? It's a fun thing. What would it be a fun thing to do? I mean, like the easy answer is you'd rob everyone. But the fun answer is, because, I don't know. Diggins, what about you?
I would be in rooms with people I know, then leave those rooms, and then come back invisible to see if they talk about me after I leave.
Oh no, that's the last
one.
thing I would do. It would ruin my life. I think I'd just go shove rich people I don't like. Like, I'd go find, like, the CEOs of all the companies that are polluting stuff and just shove them. That'd be fun for me.
I would give Michael Bloomberg a swirly.
Yeah, like stuff like that. Because you can't touch him, right? Except if you're Invisible Man, then you can. I wouldn't kill him or anything. I'd just make their days a little worse. That'd be fun. Yeah, okay. So the end of the movie. 2 ends, I guess. End 1. They go to her house. Or not her house, the friend's house.
Well, he's basically like, I'm not going to hurt you if you disobey me, but I'm going to start hurting people you care about. So I'm going to go kill that kid whose college you're paying for.
Yeah.
And that's your fault.
Now,
he's an abuser, and that's the thing he says.
She calls the dad, right?
Yes.
Immediately. And she's like, get out, there's this thing. Does she call the kid?
I don't think so.
Seemingly no.
Why not?
That's a good question.
Maybe she doesn't know the kid's cell phone offhand.
Call the house.
Maybe she doesn't know the house offhand. I don't know.
Tell the dad to call the kid. I mean, maybe the kid doesn't have
Let
her
her
phone,
know. Lock
Why
the
doesn't
doors.
the dad is worried enough that he actually does race home? Why doesn't he call the kid? He definitely has her number.
Good question.
Because then you could set up Invisible Man traps like Home Alone.
Yeah.
And just their paint cans and fire hot, doorknobs, tarantulas.
So much better.
Yeah. Like, it would be fun to watch the Invisible Man just stumble through a house that has been Invisible Man proofed. Like, I think it'd be really funny. I don't know how they would do this, but if they just, you know how you do that thing where you put saran wrap over a doorway and then you call your friend in and he runs in and hits the saran wrap? It'd be fun to get the Invisible Man with, haha, our invisible technology has beaten yours.
Crushed.
Invisible Man. Like, there's a million ways to find an Invisible Man. I just put a fan on and then put some flour in the air. He can't go anywhere. The flour's in the air now. Like, but I don't know, man. This is why I'm not the Invisible Man, or why I'm not fighting Invisible Mans.
Diggins, can we put Nando in an Invisible Man situation? Because he's talking a lot of shit about how he would deal with an Invisible Man.
I have been working on my Invisible Man suit in my spare time, so I think we could maybe set something up. We'll find someone who... we'll find Nando's nemesis.
It would have to be someone who is willing to get murdered in an Invisible Man suit immediately. And they'd have to have a lot of time to prepare, because I've been thinking about this since since you saw your first Invisible Man movie, and you've been like, that's fucking stupid. All you need is a couple blankets and a knife, or like a bat.
Nando spent about a third of his waking hours just thinking about how we deal with an Invisible Man scenario.
I mean,
he's the most prepared man in the world.
Everybody, like the room I am in now, there's pillows, there's a blanket. You just start tossing stuff where you think the Invisible Man is, and then when you find him, you toss something heavier. Like,
I will say, everyone's bad at fighting the Invisible Man, even the professional dad cop.
Professional dad.
Professional dads can't even deal with it.
I'm a dad for hire.
Because, you would think that, he's a cop. He should know some, fighting techniques. But, the Invisible Man crushes the dad.
He was sleeping the day at the academy they taught you how to fight Invisible Men.
I don't think he'd be great at fighting a person he couldn't see. But once that person's touching him and, dragging him down the hallway, I feel like you can get him.
I feel it's crazy to suggest that this 6-foot-tall police officer is less strong than doughy billionaire.
Covered in a heavy camera suit, one assumes. I mean, listen. Okay, here's this.
Because, we've alluded to it. The twist is that this is not actually Adrian. This is his brother, Tom. But so we see Adrian, and Adrian's pretty fit. So you're like, okay, he's strong. But the brother isn't. The brother's just like a regular dude. Why is he stronger than the dad?
I don't know.
I mean, I also have a question. It's not Tom the whole time?
No.
How do we know?
DJ, how did you so radically misinterpret the ending of this movie?
Well, that's why I had some questions. But no, like, for real, like, how do we know that it's,
Because he says at the very end, when she's, like, begging him to tell the truth, and he's, like, comes up to her and he's like, listen, I understand, I understand you, blah, 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 using the same abuser tactics.
right?
And then he ends it by going, like, it was a great surprise. And he gets, like, a shit-eating grin on his face. And, like, a surprise is a thing he said that was said to her multiple times by the person who was stalking her. So it's clearly him, like, being like, I know you're recording me, so I'm not going to say it, but I want you to know that you're right. I was doing it, and I'll do it again.
Okay. All right.
Like,
all right.
okay, you get the 2-liter Pepsi, right? You shake it up and you just spray it in the area where you think the Invisible Man is. He's covered in the Pepsi, and now you just get him. Like,
And plus, he's sticky now, so he's like way easy to grapple and stuff.
like
It's like
assuming
reverse oil.
you can beat up a man, right? Like assuming you have a bat or a broomstick or something that you can use to like at least hit a guy from a distance. Yeah, finding an Invisible Man is the easy part. It's the beating him up that's hard because he's a person. But yeah, just throw Rice Krispies at him until the Rice Krispies start hitting something. There's just so many options.
Man, this
It's
is
so easy.
I love this.
I mean, I don't know.
Well, they do follow that advice somewhat because in the middle of as Invisible Man is winning the fight against the dad, Cecilia arrives and takes the fire extinguisher that we saw earlier and sprays it all over, which makes him plainly visible.
Yeah. That's Invisible Man 101. And you know what? I have several fire extinguishers, so those should be my first get. That would be like step one is get the fire extinguishers and just start dual wielding them. Get your Invisible Man. And then the great thing about a fire extinguisher, too, as an Invisible Man weapon, is then you can beat him over the head with it,
Yeah, it's true. There's a lot
She
you can do
doesn't,
there.
but you could.
No, she doesn't because she has a gun, so she just shoots him until he dies.
It's a
Who needs
lot
fire
of shots.
extinguisher when you have a gun. Also, I feel like it takes a lot of bullets.
I mean, she stabs him a couple times pretty hard with the
Yeah.
pen, and he's pretty good.
Might be a bulletproof suit.
I don't think it takes that many bullets. I think she just shoots him a bunch because she hates him.
Oh,
Yeah.
fair.
People in my theater were like, keep shooting him. Empty the clip in this guy. Because they do, like, he does fall to the ground, and there's a second where they have to unmask him like it's Scooby-Doo. And you're like, all right.
Because it's Tom.
Might as well.
Whoa.
Also, that mask comes off, again, like one of those suits that you wear to a football game.
Like a morph suit. Yeah.
Like a morph
So-
suit. Yes, exactly.
So this is a thing. Oh, sorry. You go.
That's all I got. It's just silly to me.
This is a thing that we talked about earlier that I would like addressed. What did the brother think was going to happen?
Yeah.
Like, did he think that Adrian had set this up where, like, he was trapped in the basement, which is, they find him in the basement, and and Adrian says, like, oh, it was the brother the whole time. He kidnapped me, whatever. And that he would be the one messing with her for this time only. Like, did he think they were just doing that for fun and that everything would be fine for him? Like, what was his thought?
Maybe the brother promised him like $5 billion. So, for that amount of money,
It doesn't
you'd be crazy
matter
to say
if
no.
I get killed.
Does he have, like, can Adrian tie himself up? Did that have anything to do with the brother? Could he have just been like, I'll be in a suit right behind you, and if things go wrong, I will save you in my Invisible Man suit. You obviously won't be able to see me, because I'm invisible as well, but I will be there. And then and then they both put on their suits, and Adrian did that little, like, creep backwards, like, do, and then he went to tie himself up while the brother just, like, got murdered. Beat the shit out of a bunch of guys and then got murdered. I think Adrian tied himself up with his 50 Shades of Grey knowledge that he doesn't have, but maybe he does.
I suppose.
Pretty convincing.
Yeah, I would guess that's it. I mean, listen, he's the most resourceful man alive. He is. It's like, you know what it's like? It's like Saw. Lee Winnell, I get it. You want to write these superheroes who can get a house full of syringes and build all these death traps and stuff because they're scary. and I love it. And I'm not calling you out or anything. But this guy's a lot like the Saw guy, where he just has infinite resources and all of the things that should stop him from being him. They don't, because the movie would be cooler if he was like, if he was light as a feather and he could take a million punches.
But anyway,
so they have stopped the Invisible Man. So the movie ends here. Clap hands, dust him off the end.
Well, not quite. For you see, Cecilia is convinced that it really was Adrian all the whole time, and this is just another layer of his setup, where he set up his brother and to take the fall, and now he gets to be like, I'm okay, and I get my life back, and everything's okay for her now in that sense, in that apparently proving the existence of an invisible man makes her alibi that an invisible man did it instead suddenly look a lot more true.
Yeah.
Especially an invisible man that has been stalking me specifically. It's like, wow, okay. I guess we got to take that one seriously now.
Yeah, it's like, at that point, do you think people go backwards through all of the things and go okay, so when she said there was a guy watching her, there was, and when she said this, that was happening, and all that stuff? I wonder if
I assume so.
Does this dramatically alter the world in any way?
Oh man, the 9/11 truthers are going crazy,
right? Every
they
conspiracy
can reverse
theory.
engineer the technology.
Yeah, I didn't even think of
everything was now Invisible Man. Oh man, flat earthers, it's all cameras. Everything is now cameras.
You know who should have fucking shown up? So this is where it happens. They're like the Invisible Man. They shoot him. It's the brother, whatever. And then they go and then the policeman who is there with the daughter, and they're all hugging and stuff. And then they get a knock at the door, and who should appear but Dr. Jekyll? And he's like, "It is us, Prodigium. We cover up all these monster events. Remember that time London exploded in sand? That was me. And I am here to save you and the world from knowing about these monsters." And then they're like, "Actually, it's just a robot suit." Yeah, I know, but still, it's one of them. It's one of the, it's like a monster. So technically,
we've decided it counts.
Yeah, it's our thing. Lizard Man, this, guys in theaters. We've got a whole, as long as it doesn't fit into a very, very, very broad definition of what is not a monster, then maybe it is.
But anyway. So she still, feels not great about the fact that he's getting away with it. So eventually she calls him and sets up a reconciliation, is what it appears to be.
Yeah.
But she's secretly recording him and trying to get him to confess to being the Invisible Man the whole time.
Yep.
But he...
And she's wearing a wire.
Yeah, she's wearing a wire. And James, the dad, is outside in the car listening. So she's trying to prove it to him. Because he's being a cop, I guess that would also count as evidence that could be used against him at that point.
I guess. I don't know. I guess California has pretty lax laws when it comes to recording people.
There are many states that have one-party consent laws for recording, where only one person
California
has to consent
is one of them.
That's a real thing. But he, as I said earlier, he's like, no, it wasn't me. It was my brother the whole time. But then slips in the word surprise with a shit-eating grin towards the end to let her know, without making the recording suspicious, that it really was him.
Which I missed.
Which DJ missed somehow, because the movie lingers on it quite a bit.
Yeah, my bad. I was also checked out by this time, so definitely a me problem.
So then she slips off to the bathroom, near where that closet was, where she had stored the other suit originally. Then we cut back to Adrian, who suddenly and seemingly against his will slits his own throat with the knife that he was eating dinner with.
How do you guys feel about her killing him?
I mean, seems like he deserved it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's fine.
But it's like, two wrongs don't make a right.
I mean, if you're asking me to say murder is wrong, yeah.
Wait.
But
okay.
We're in a movie world where...
He killed himself, you guys.
Oh, yeah. No, sorry. My bad. He killed himself. Suicide is wrong.
Yeah.
But he's an evil bad guy in a movie, and we are fine with evil bad guys in movies dying for way less than the things he does. So, I'm fine with it.
All right, fair enough. He did kill the sister.
Yeah. I'm going to get really nitpicky here. So he knows she stole the suit, right? He knows.
I'm not clear that I'm not clear that he does know that.
He knows the suit went missing. He must.
Right, but...
So he knows the suit went missing. He doesn't know where it is, but he knows she had it at some point, right? It turns out it was hidden in the house.
That could be surmised.
Yeah. Like, it's not even she has it, but at some point she took it and did something with it.
Because he finds her not too long after she goes in the house, so I think he knows she doesn't have it on her.
Right. So he knows that there is an Invisible Man suit somewhere in his house, like just a free one, and he doesn't go bother to find it, right? Which maybe you're like, well, how would he know where it is? And I'm like, if you have an Invisible Man suit, you have to have some sort of locator technology on it, because what happens if it goes invisible by accident? You'll never find it. There has to be a beeper on your Invisible Man suit. Otherwise, you're going to lose it immediately.
Maybe it was like he didn't actually go into that room when he followed her to the house because he was busy trying to find her. And so he didn't actually see that it was missing until after he was quote unquote found by the police. And so he thought that maybe they had confiscated it or something, and didn't realize that she had taken it.
I don't buy it. I think, well, how long has he been tied up? Like at that point, he's not tied up yet.
Yeah.
So,
we don't know when the tying up starts.
So I feel like you got to go back to your invisible suit or something, and you go, hey, let's check on the other one. Oh, it's gone. Or like there's not some flashing red light that's just like invisible suit, not here. He doesn't even notice. He's a fool.
Right.
He's a fool, this Adrian. Never mind, he's dumb. And
worst Invisible Man ever.
Honestly.
I think we're switching from Nando believes that he could defeat an invisible man to Nando believes that he could be an invisible man.
Yeah,
I would be such a good... I wouldn't be a good invisible man because it's really hard. Just if you're fighting somebody who knows they're an invisible man, it's so tough. Also, it would just be tough to sneak through doors. Like, the fact that he is always able to get in anywhere by what I'm assuming at some points is just like doing that little slide, like you get in an elevator right before it closes or something. Like, he's got to do that a lot, and he never bumps into anybody. No one can ever hear him. Like, it's got to be really, really hard. And then
he was training for years. Yeah.
Once people know you're invisible manning, then fuck, man, it's over. Then they just start throwing things at you until they hit you, and then you're like, ow. And then it's like, okay, here he is. And then you just keep throwing things. Like, I don't know, man. The invisibility advantage wears off the first time it gets found out. And then you're just a guy in a weird clunky suit that makes accidental clicking noises. Because if you start breaking the suit, it like recalibrates, like tick, 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 tick. And then it's like even worse. It's a liability.
The suit only makes noise when it's off, though. Important detail.
Yeah. Okay, and then the last bit. So then what's the end of the movie?
Well, she comes out and is like, oh my god, Adrian, you killed yourself. And calls 911 and reports it and is like crying, but then slowly like steps off from being able to be seen by the security cameras while she does it. And when she gets off, she just like, and hangs up the phone. She just drops the act and it's just like, surprise.
Stone cold.
Damn. And then the friend is like, you were never really gonna you didn't really want to record him, did you? And she's like, no, of course I did. I just didn't realize he was so unstable. I mean, you heard it, right? What did it sound like to you? And he says, sounded like he killed himself. Damn.
Yep.
So she's gonna get away with it.
It's a whatchamacallit scenario. It's a To Kill a Mockingbird scenario. Everyone's just gonna agree that the bad guy fell on his own knife, even though maybe he didn't. But also, she steals the suit and then walks away, and it's like, well, man, yeah, now she's the invisible woman, I guess. Which we can't call her because that will be silly in a couple of years when we make Fantastic Four. So, Lady Invisible, I guess, or something.
My read on that was more like she was taking the suit away so that they wouldn't find it and be like, maybe an invisible person did this.
Oh, no,
now that's a real possibility.
I think she is going to be like the domestic abuse angel of death who's going to just go, I think she's a superhero now. I mean, she can't because there's no way she can fix this suit if it breaks once or power it unless it has a plug somewhere. But that's highly unlikely. But I kind of almost got the sense that it's like not just like she's a killer now, but like she's got a mission. And her mission is to be the person that saves everybody. And that, felt very Dark Universe.
So I have a question about that.
Yep.
Let's say that they are, I don't know if you saw Mr. Sunday Movies did like a YouTube video saying the Dark Universe is alive.
It
which
never
is like,
died.
It was pretty hilarious. If they were to incorporate Johnny Depp into the Dark Universe, how would they do it? Or is it just that now Elizabeth Moss is our new Invisible Woman?
See, it's tough, right? Because on one hand, this is exactly like how an Iron Man movie would end, kind of, where it's like, I am the superhero now. And now, at some point someone will be like, we need an invisible person to... I mean, it would never fit with the tone of this movie. But it just feels to me like it's ending like to set up a sequel. So maybe it wouldn't connect to the Dark Universe, but it will spawn some sort of like invisible hero-verse or something. The problem is she's the only one that knows the technology exists and the only one that can use it.
I don't know. It seemed more like just, walk off into the night like I've taken my revenge thriller ending. Unless something that specifically wanted sequels. I mean, they might do sequels because it did pretty well.
It made $1 billion, or not $1 billion, but it made enough money that it's definitely going to be a sequel.
It made several times its budget on its opening weekend, but its budget was also very low.
It was like $7 million or something like that, right? It was like...
That's right. It
made... Not the Mummy, $150 million.
Oh my god, yeah. It made $28 million domestic, probably about that much foreign. So yeah, I'm sure. Well, actually, hold on. I don't know. It's hard to tell. But it made enough money that I think they'd be crazy to not do a sequel, but also like maybe don't, and just make another movie.
Not every movie needs a sequel.
And like find some way to link them all, not like in a universe, but just like thematically, and be like another one of our monster thingies, like anthology it, because that's a good way to do movies.
Just like the original Universal Monsters. It's not that they were all linked together. It's just they made a bunch of monster movies.
It's 2020, guys. We talked about this last episode. You need it. You need it.
I feel like the trend is dying because they all failed so bad.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think after DC kind of changed their minds about it, then I think everybody else was like, I guess we don't have to do this anymore. Because I was a little bummed that there wasn't the Dark Universe intro, though. That little,
I know. I wanted it so bad.
I would have been. It would have made me just cheer.
Then it's like confirmed,
so confirmed. Or maybe even at the end, like as the movie ends and she walks into the thing, it's just like Dark Universe, because this is a dark universe. It's not good. Things are not good. People are invisible, man.
Anything.
I didn't stay.
Sad.
I should have.
I stayed through the first wave of credits, but when the regular wave happened, I left.
She'd make a decent Avenger.
Ooh.
Better than Hawkeye. Like Black Widow with that technology can get some shit done. So if Elizabeth Moss, if she trains and gets into the insane physical shape that Adrian must have been in, or just uses the powers of the suit to be super strong, then she's like, sweet. I mean, then you could still find her. See, again, heat vision. That's the other one where if you start using that, it's over. Or a dog, or cats, or anything. Any animal could probably find her.
Oh, yeah.
But, hey, man, what do I know? I'm just a normal Invisible Man hunter. I would.
No, you'd be a great Invisible Man,
God.
Nando. Come on.
Any of you guys, if any listeners ever think they're getting Invisible Man, let me know. Tweet at me at Nando V Movies. I will come and give you, not fix the Invisible Man bit for you, because I don't want to be responsible for in case you're wrong, but I will give you tips on how to make sure. And I pretty much went through all of them here, but I bet there's others. Tax. You want to just Legos. Throw Legos on the floor. Because first of all, he has to step on them. That's not great for him. But then second, you'd know where he is. All great stuff. Magnets. Another thing that are probably really bad for Invisible Man. Because you could throw magnets at him off your fridge, right? They'd catch the suit maybe. So then you'd know where he is. They'd at least bounce off the suit. But also it might scramble the cameras. And then it's like, oh shit, magnets. That's how you do it. Anyway, it's one of these days. So yeah, good movie.
I'd go watch it. What Diggins said earlier kind of encapsulates it.
It seems like on the screen it, stream it, skip it metric, DJ's probably a stream it. I would say I'm a screen it. I think it's worth watching in a theater. It's a very tense movie for that first half. If you like horror movies, I think it does a lot of really, really effective horror techniques. It becomes a little less interesting as it goes on, but that first part is so strong it's worth seeing in theaters.
I'm a stream it just because my theater didn't really have the resolve to take it seriously, but that's just me because I have that experience frequently. I think it's good, worth seeing in a theater, but also it's going to be a fun one to watch at home with the lights off when you know that there's an invisible man in your house as well watching the movie with you. Also, other ways you can get an invisible man, I don't know, just like smoke in general. You could fill a room with smoke. It's really hard for him to find you. Also, probably hard to breathe in that suit. But hey, what do I know? All right, you guys want to get to our classic segment?
I would love to.
Let's do it. DJ, do you have anything to recommend to the fine people?
I do. So I have 1.5 recs. So before the show, Dan and I were talking. I started watching Love Is Blind. I'm not ready to give it the full-throated rec quite yet. I think a lot of it's kind of BS, but from what I've heard, it does pick up. I'm only 3 episodes in, so I'm willing to. I'll be back with that one. Yep. I'm not fully sold yet. However, I would like to recommend an anime called Mob Psycho 100. Have either of you watched or heard of this?
I have not.
I've heard of it. It's by the One Punch Man guy.
It is by the One Punch Man guy.
That means it's perfect.
It is a similar premise where there's this... instead of being superheroes, everyone's an Esper. So kind of like the terrible tornado in One Punch Man.
Right.
They're all that, but their Esperness gives them different superpowers. Maybe you can make stuff levitate, maybe you can shoot fireballs. You get a different superpower depending on where your psychic ability is at. And the main character, Mob, is this middle school kid who has One Punch Man god level Esper powers, but he can only activate him when he gets super emotional and different things happen. So normally he's just your run-of-the-mill kid, very sweet, very naive. But if he gets worked up, then his god level One Punch Man powers come out. Otherwise he's just bending spoons and shit like that. So yeah, it's a little different tone than One Punch Man, but still the same idea. It's very funny. A lot of the characters are very likable and have a lot of heart. I really like Mob as a really good main character. But it's good. There's 2 seasons. I only watched the first one. But if you like One Punch Man, you'd probably like this. There's a little more of the middle school drama aspect to it. All of the rivals in the beginning part are based around middle school, but then the stakes kind of ratchet up a little bit. But it's good. It's definitely worth the watch. A lot of fun. Yeah. So Mob Psycho 100. Go check it out. You can watch it on Crunchyroll for free. I don't think it's on Hulu, but it is on Crunchyroll. So yeah.
I have one question, DJ, and it's my main question. Does it have schoolgirls in short skirts, and is it going to be awkward to watch? Because then I don't want to watch it. But if it isn't, then I would love it.
The first part, yes. There's only a couple of awkward parts, but I think a lot of it outweighs the awkwardness. I think there's a lot of fun stuff that happens that goes over the awkwardness. There's this one character, Reigen, who you would love. He runs basically a one-man Ghostbusters thing, but he's totally a fraud. And it's not a spoiler. It's in the first episode. And Mob works for him, and he is Mob's sensei, but he's a total fraud. He has no powers whatsoever, but he runs, I'll get the spirits out for you, just pay me money. And he's great. Easily my favorite character.
Okay.
So, yeah, there's a little bit because it takes place, the main setting's middle school, and there's no organization of superheroes like there is in One Punch Man, so maybe some of the structure stuff you wouldn't like as much, but I do think it's worth giving a watch. Give it 3 or 4 episodes, and if you're out, then you're out, so.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Diggins, you got anything to recommend?
Real quick, just I'm going to break the cardinal rule of recommendations and recommend a podcast.
Oh my God.
Not allowed.
A podcast that isn't us. Crazy, I know. I'm going to recommend a podcast called Fun City. It's a RPG podcast where they play Shadowrun, which is a system that is combines cyberpunk and fantasy. It takes place in a future where in addition to the world becoming slowly more cyberpunk and dystopian and corporate run, there was also this event that happened where magic emerged and some people turned into orcs and elves and dwarves and dragons showed up. But it merges all of that with the cyberpunk aspects. There's this one dragon who decided to invest his hoard and is now a CEO of a weapons manufacturer company. And that's what his hoard is now, is that he's a CEO. which I always find a cool detail. Anyway, that's just the world. The podcast itself takes place in New York, which is now partially submerged due to climate change. And it's really, the character work is so fantastic. They spent a lot of time preparing before they actually started running. So all the players have really solid ideas of who their characters are and lean into it really well. It's also very, very well edited. Shadowrun is a very mechanics heavy system, but you wouldn't know it from listening to this podcast because they keep it flowing. Like there's never a moment where they stop for more than 2 seconds to be like, what's the rule again? The whole thing, it's telling a really great story, very much leaning into the cyberpunk, themes of what it means to live in a world that is so controlled by corporate interests and where your freedom is so curtailed, and how do you navigate that world and how you make responsible moral choices in a world where that is designed for you not to.
Right.
And it's a great story. It's very funny also, to be clear. I'm making it sound very serious, but they goof around a lot and it's hilarious. So if you like RPG podcasts, you should definitely check this one out. It's called Fun City. You can find it wherever fine podcasts are sold.
Cool. All right, I'm going to wreck... I'm not ready to wreck the Love is Blind show either yet. I'm going to wreck a show that I've probably recommended before, but the new season's great. Curb Your Enthusiasm. I've been watching it all. It's great. It's really funny. The guest stars are very funny. It's hard to explain. I don't remember Vince Vaughn ever being on it before, so it's funny to see him. There are quite a few people that show up for the first time, and then there's other characters that show up that were in previous seasons. Specifically Ted Danson, who was in the last season, and a couple, he's been in it for a while, but he kind of took on a new role in season 9, is back in season 10, and it's wonderful what he's up to. And so yeah, I really enjoy that. After watching The Good Place, I have a different kind of idea of Ted Danson, so it's fun to see him do this. That's really it though. Oh, you know what I was watching? The College Humor YouTube channel. There's a show, or I guess series they do called Actually, and it's a nerd game show, and it's very funny. It's just, the whole idea is he would make a sentence, like a fact about something, and then one tiny bit of it will be wrong, and your job as the person and the job of the people on the panel is to figure out what's wrong about it. So, he'll, say that Pikachu's the wrong, not color, but something a little harder to nail down than that. So they talk about World of Warcraft, and it's a lot of different things, but every so often it's fun to watch. That's all I got, though. Next week, what are we doing? Are we going to do Onward?
Could do Onward.
Yeah, that'll work.
Okay. Yeah.
Onward.
I haven't seen it yet. I haven't heard
Onward.
too much about it, but yeah, we'll do that. Anything to plug or anything like that?
Not me.
Not at the moment.
Samesies. All right. Well, Diggins, have fun in France.
I will.
That's what they call it. Watch out for invisible men. But if you see
they're
one,
having an epidemic of invisible men in France right now because of all the mimes.
Exactly. A mime would be a great person to catch an invisible man. They would know all the tricks. They would trick the invisible man into thinking they have invisible weapons, and then the invisible man would be fooled. Anyway, great stuff, guys. All right. Until next week, I am at Nando V Movies on Twitter.
I'm at Zippy by Day.
I'm at This Is an Odd Name.
All right. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye. We love you.